What's up, everyone? It's Carrie, aka Nerdy Girl Crates. It's Otaku Tuesday. Yes, we are back, and boy, do we have some topics we're going to talk about tonight. But first, before we check in with the crew, let me remind everybody, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when there's another live stream. And let's check in with everybody and see how they're doing. Hey, Laura, how are you?
I am doing good. Today's been a busy day, but I've got all my picks ready and felt excited because I felt pretty stumped for today's top five, to be honest, and I had to think hard. So excited to be here.
I know it's going to
Oh,
be a fun top five.
yep.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Bo, Mr. Bo knows manga. What's up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The rebranding has been going smoothly. Channel's doing really great. Pretty excited to get into this top five. Read a lot of manga in my breaks, and so I want to bring some of them up.
Cool.
Awesome. And we're going to have Mark. She's going to join us. She's just running a little late, but she'll be here soon. So let's talk about our first topic. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention to Twitter or X or whatever it's called now because I've lost track. I still say Twitter. I know it's not Twitter anymore. But Ichiro Oda, who is the creator of One Piece, back in 2009 had made a statement about romance in the One Piece series. Now, for those who don't know, One Piece is technically a shonen series, which is targeted towards younger male audience. It's an adventure, it's about pirates.
Yeah.
But apparently, over time, he's accumulated a lot of female audiences. Two of them are here on the stream right now. And some fans have written in, particularly the females, and asked if there's ever going to be a romance, especially for the main character, Luffy, or any of the other characters. And Oda has pretty much stated that he's not going to write romance amongst the Straw Hats. At least that's how it sounds. He says he doesn't feel like it's fits for his series because it's a shonen. He knows there's females who love the characters, but he feels if they're looking for romance, that they can go read shoujo. Apparently, some people got upset about that. From a comment from 2009, got upset about it. Now, typical Twitter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're saying he's misogynist, sexist. He is gatekeeping out female audience. He is he doesn't want girls reading One Piece. Now I read the quote. I don't know if the translation is correct because I do not speak Japanese, so I'm just going based off what somebody had posted.
Hmm.
To me, it doesn't sound like he's saying he doesn't want female readers. Laura, what are
Mm.
your thoughts?
Well, my first thing is I wish we had the actual like question answer. I think it was
Yes.
really weird for the translator to use the word shoujo because shoujo doesn't necessarily equate to romance. That is majority true for for the shoujo genre though. But I mean, like shonen, or in the sense shonen is a demographic, it targets young men. Shoujo is a demographic and targets young women. We know that shonen does have romance, but I feel like since he does write Shonen Jump manga, like I was trying to think, okay, out of the Shonen Jump titles I have, is there a series that really has romance? And no, I mean, we wouldn't say that Dragon Ball Z is a romance, though it has romance in it, I'd sort of say, or Bleach or Naruto. So I agree with you that I never felt that even from what we were given of the translation that Oda was saying that he doesn't want female readers. Like, he never said that ever. Like, I mean, I feel like Oda is, I guess the thing that I wanted was a more, I feel like, accurate translation because I feel like Oda's very respectful and very like mindful of all the demographics and whatnot and wouldn't say that kind of generalization. That more bothered me than anything. And I think that's just because we have a lot of the demographic generalizations in the States and it just adds fuel to the fire as it already has. So I agree that I don't think Oda was saying at all that he doesn't want female readers just because it's geared towards young men and that is his primary audience. That doesn't
Hmm.
mean that he's saying, well, forget women, I don't want you here, so you can just make do. I mean, at least he's even addressing fans, and especially the woman fans saying that they want the romance. I am guilty as charged. So,
Yeah.
but I respect that he at least is answering that, and not giving, I don't know what the right word would be, but like where we're hoping, but there's really nothing there. Like where you can sort of just analyze and be like, this looks like it could be a ship sailing, no pun intended, but it's not. So that's my take on it. Sorry for that long ramble there.
Hey, no, you're good. I don't think anybody has any problem with that. I mean, it's a good opinion. I think a lot of us can align with that. I look at it from this point, looking at One Piece as a whole. From what I've seen so far, I'm about halfway through it. I'm like one volume away from time skip. It would feel different, yes, and it wouldn't feel right if he started throwing in romance at this point. And where he is right now, I mean, I can only imagine. I doubt there's been any romance written in since they're saying this now. Not honest opinion, I don't think it'd feel right. I mean, what do you think so far? Wait, later on, would you say there's more romance in there, or?
There's a, and this is what I was going to get into next because I wanted to address Ergo Kitty's statement. She was asking, what? I'm a female. I don't care for romance. How is not wanting a romance written into a story meaning being sexist? And I think this goes back to the type of people who might be asking for this. And again, going to what Laura has said, we don't know the full context. We don't know if this was like a question in one of the mangas that was asked. And so we don't know exactly if the translation is presenting all the details or not. But there is a mindset with some people when they start to like something, even if they were not the quote unquote target audience, they kind of sometimes insist that they become the target audience, even if maybe they're not a large percentage of that audience. So anytime when they want something in there and they say that, and they say, well, no, that's not where we're going with this, they start to get mad and do this whole Twitter rant and start pushing out
Yeah.
other people to join in, and they'll start making accusations that I don't think is fair, because I've heard things before where they said stuff about his female characters, and I get, okay, I will admit, like, the way he draws his female characters, they're very sexy. But the one thing about his female characters, if you read a lot of shonen, they're probably some of the strongest and smartest characters out there.
Mm-hmm.
They've survived a lot. They have overcome a lot. Both of Nami and Robin are very intelligent. Nami taught herself to draw maps as a child. She
Mm-hmm.
taught herself navigation on her own. And she's like, quote unquote, probably one of the best navigators on the sea. Robin learned to be what, an archaeologist as a child?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And it's not
kind of
something that
like
they just
they're the brains of the operation.
yeah. And it's not something like they just like happened, they absorbed and they were that. No. Robin, I mean, she was left alone all the time, and she had the library.
Yeah.
I think too, when you compare it to, just for comparison example of comparing it to other complaints I've seen, I've never read Naruto, but what's her name, Hinata, like of how like she did not have genuine character growth, like she was an aid or just there for Naruto's sake. And I feel like with the ladies in One Piece, I feel like shonen in general can be known for having, like, if you're reading shonen, you can expect fan service, and there's fan service in One Piece. But I also feel like these women are more than just look how attractive they are in this. You could pull them out and write their own manga on their backstories, because of, like you guys were saying, like there's so much to them that they're very three-dimensional, where you get invested them more than just how they look. You want to get to know more about them as an actual character, regardless of their gender. They just happen to be female and be really cool, though.
And they
Yeah.
have backstories. You don't get a lot of
Yeah.
backstories for female characters. Like, you
Right.
really know Sakura's backstory.
Do y'all know too much about anything about Bleach?
I haven't read.
Yes, Bleach is different. That's true.
All right. So as far as the big three goes, I mean, if we were to look at those, is there a lot of romance in those? No. And the
No,
very
and
little that there is, I mean, does it work?
well,
That
and
would.
it's kind of like just, and this is the thing with One Piece. I'm sorry, Laura, I didn't mean to jump in, which I was going to answer about before. There is romantic situations, but they're mostly with side characters that you get to meet.
Hmm.
You you haven't gotten there both, so I don't want to spoil too much.
Okay,
There
okay.
is even like a hinted one with one of the Straw Hats later on that starts off as something that's not supposed to be, and then kind of
That
like there's
character
an
deserves
attraction.
justice.
Yes.
That character deserves a romance. Anyway, sorry.
But like again not the main focus of the story. Again, you
Mhm.
do have romance, but sometimes the romance does play into the plot of that arc. Like when you get to Dressrosa, there's one.
Hmm.
Uh, that romance led to a big part of that arc, but it wasn't the main plot of the story.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah,
it was with characters they introduced in Dressrosa.
Yeah.
right. I think, like Bo said too, it's not whether, like with the big three, whether these manga have a romance. It's does the romance work? And I think at this point, I mean, if you look, I really feel like at any given point, I don't feel like any of the Straw Hats are in a place where romance would be like,
Yeah.
where it would quote unquote fit, for a lack of a better word. They're
Did they
so
have time for
focused.
it or?
Yeah, like they're so focused on their goals, and
Hmm.
not that romance is a hindrance, but it would feel sort of, as much as there's certain times I want romance, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it would hit different. I mean, Luffy's so goal oriented. I mean, with even all the women thrown at him at times, like he just
He's
wants.
oblivious.
Yeah, and I feel like in a way, I mean, it adds another or a different layer of respect for him that he's so focused on that. Now, granted, if Oda wants to be at the end, like, you know what, part of the happy ending is him getting a woman, I'd be like, I'm all here for it though. So
And that's
Yeah.
usually how shonen goes. You finally do get some type of coupling near the end of the series.
that's true.
That's what happened in
Yeah.
Bleach. That's what happened in Naruto. Even though one of them I still don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of us were like, I'm sorry, what?
If you're a Naruto fan, you know what I'm talking about. But again, it's not his main focus. He's not required to do that for the type of story he's writing because it's his story. He's writing it, and he's writing it for the people who are enjoying his story.
Mhm.
Mhm. I get that,
He's
and
not going to
also,
change because somebody
yeah,
out there has a shipping mentality and wants to see their ship become reality. And
Look, don't
yeah.
call me out now, Carrie. No.
Granted, well, granted, if it were like the base audience, I mean, if everyone started saying that, I would probably say maybe he would. I mean, what have we learned from Bakuman and what was it? What's the new one now? The Akane. I can't even say the word. This one.
What? Oh,
He, it's all about the audience. I mean, catering to the audience that you actually write for. Uh, if I would say everybody's demanding it, probably he'd work his way there. But I don't think everybody that's reading it, it's not looking for that. They like where the Straw Hats are. They like how goal oriented they are. Throwing that in would just kind of, I don't know, kind of
yeah,
it wouldn't make it any, it wouldn't add to it.
mhm.
and my biggest problem was when they do romance and shonen sometimes, not all the time, so don't jump on me, but most of the time, it feels kind of like it didn't build up to it. Like it just like, kind of said, well, you know, they've been hanging out all this time. Let's just suddenly
Yeah.
turn it into a romantic relationship. And you're like, didn't he try to kill her like 2 arcs ago?
Oh, you're talking about Sasuke?
Like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
it
that was
makes
crazy.
no sense to
Especially
me.
if you
It is.
shoehorn it.
Yeah, and I think and Oda's really good at his writing. He's known for his Easter eggs, like things you didn't realize back 10 arcs ago is going to start coming back later
Yeah.
on.
Mhm.
And you'd be like, wow, that was important. Now I need to go back and reread that to understand it better. There's a big moment coming up right now in the series that's connected way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he wanted a romance, he would have been setting the seeds for it by now.
Now I did read something recently that had somewhat kind of a romance, and I'm really enjoying it. Dark Gathering
Mhm.
has a bit of a budding love between two characters, and there is kind of a nefarious. Um, I don't know. One character is not really all that forthcoming and genuine about everything. I'm really liking the way they're doing that romance, but that's starting off right here.
Mhm.
If they were to do it a different way and then all of a sudden like shoehorn it in, can't do
Yeah.
that. It started off if they want to start a new series, and if they did a side story, maybe that would work. But yeah, this don't change it.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like it's the small minority of people who
It
see
always is.
something, yeah, and they really want it so bad, and then if like they get disregarded, they decide that this is a personal attack, and they come off with all these different remarks. And it's been going on for a few days. I even had a comment on one of them because it was kind of like, I don't think you read One Piece because if you're making this kind of statement about some of the characters, then you don't
Mhm.
understand the characters at all. Because to just
Yeah.
say that the women are just there to be pretty, you're not reading it.
No,
Yeah.
Twitter is full of those people who are, I would say, you could call them tourists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They come in and, oh, I don't like that. What is this? Let me do a quick Google search,
Mhm.
and that they use that as their thing to get clicks or whatever it is on Twitter now, or X.
Yeah.
It's like, I hate to say weaponize social media to their advantage.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because they want to see, like, we changed it for the better. And I'm like, no, you didn't. What exactly have you changed in comics that has been for the been for better? And so you're not, obviously you're not gonna, thankfully you're not gonna affect manga.
Yeah.
But if you did, I mean, you'd ruin it.
Yeah.
Like, how
And
has
that's
Star Wars changed for the better?
oh
Yeah, you can
goodness.
go down the list. I mean, you want to look at Disney and see how they're doing? Yeah,
Or
sorry
they're
to get
giving
like
away
that, but
things.
it's just, it gets infuriating because you got these, like Carrie said, you got the vocal minority who always take up these non-issues, and they are the loudest voices on Twitter,
Mhm.
and they're not alone.
Yeah.
No,
I
they're
would
not.
say going back to Kitty Cat's comment about the, the gender stereotyping, it's interesting because somebody on that thread had mentioned about how sexist it is because a few guys comment, they're like, I'm a man and I like romance. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I know my
Yep.
husband's like, I won't watch an anime if there ain't romance in it. And I'm just like, give me all the action all day if it's an anime. So, I mean, it is very sexist when people are starting to genderize and sexualize in that kind of sense. Like please don't. And plus,
Mhm.
with Otis, he's a great storyteller, but man, he'd be writing the most saddest romance when you get it. And I'm like, Oda, no. Like, don't give me any
Don't do
romance
this.
if this is gonna be the outcome. Don't break my heart.
I
So,
know.
uh,
And let's be honest, look at Luffy. I don't even think Luffy knows what to do with the girl.
so true.
Luffy's just like, wait, how are babies made? And Sanji's probably hitting him over the head with a pan
Dude,
or
kill
something.
it too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think too, sort of as a random note, I think if shippers really want to see a ship sail, that is why fan fiction is a thing. Because I remember last year I was super into Nami and Sanji being a couple. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go set sail and go find some fan fiction, and that's what I did, and it helped at that moment. I'm so conflicted with ships, so I'm not gonna say it's my ship now, but I mean, I feel like if you're really, really wanting it, people will encourage you on Twitter. Go write your own thing. If the creator ain't delivering it, you go make it, and you can go share it with somebody else. Maybe that's not the best kind of advice or thing to say, but I do appreciate the fan fiction community when it comes to that because somebody got your back when it comes to a ship you want to see sail.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's plenty of One Piece fan fiction out there.
Yeah, I haven't read
Just
any in
check
a
the
while,
ratings before you read them. You're muted.
but
Oh no, think whatever I said was witty, and yeah, just go move on.
Oh,
No.
I just, it's just kind of, and like, I'm with, Bo. I'm kind of like getting infuriated because I've been through this before in comic books with people
Yeah.
deciding, or because they look at something and decide, well, that's something, and the word is coded, and you're sitting
Yeah.
there going, huh? Like, the example would be the big one right now is like again Starfire. Like, oh, they white coated her, and I'm like, she's an
Oh,
alien.
right. You're talking about Starfire from Teen Titans, where
Yeah,
she's all
I'm like,
red,
she's an alien and she's orange.
orange. Yeah.
There's no white. There's no.
Yeah.
But no, she has to be something. And I'm like, no, 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 she's an alien.
Yeah.
That's what
And it's
she
like
is.
she was originally orange, and then didn't they change her skin color in the previous
No,
one?
she's been orange.
Okay.
Well, it was like a lighter orange. Whoever did the art coloring on that panel we looked at, that was horrible.
Mhm.
But I'm
Yeah.
sitting there going, No. And then they're like, oh, it's racist and this. I'm like, are you defending aliens that don't exist?
What did Kitty say? Exactly, Laura.
Yeah, and I'm a tomboy. I've been like when I was a kid, I preferred freaking Voltron and He-Man and She-Ra over,
God, those
you
were the
know.
days.
Yeah, I like over Strawberry Shortcake and some other stuff, but I'm aging myself now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, wait, Samurai Pizza Cats. I saw that one earlier today. Yeah, I love that one. I had to wake up pretty early for it.
Yes,
But
that's it. Thank you, Nick.
yeah,
That's exactly because of the actress that played her in
yeah,
a live action. They didn't go with all the special effects to make her look like the
yeah.
character from the comic.
Mhm.
Everybody assumes that now it should reflect the actress who played the.
Yeah. You become you can't have that argument anymore. I mean,
Mhm.
once it's been the gender or the race has been changed, then it goes back. You can't really say anything. You can't flip.
Yeah,
You can't flip
yeah,
sides.
Yeah.
yeah,
I like the act.
and look, even Asian Murph says he's more into romance. He likes the action stuff, but
Yeah.
he likes romance. There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with
I
that.
love romance.
Mhm.
In its setting. I mean, you can't just again, you
Yes.
can't shoehorn this in.
Right. Right.
Are you going to demand action in Skip and Loafer, though?
Well, give me ideas. Let's
Like,
see. Hey, I got X open right now.
he's like, I love Skip and Loafer, but you know what? As a man, I kind of feel like I'm being gatekeeped out because there's
Oh
no action
gosh.
sequences. See how stupid it sounds when it's the other way?
Yes.
It's so true. It's so, oh
Yeah.
gosh.
By the way, if you
Oh,
want a nice balance, I recommend Yona the Dawn.
This is true. I second this. I
Action,
second
romance.
this.
hmm.
Yeah.
No. I would say what else is there? I can't even think of anything right now that has romance. Yeah.
Snow White and the Red Hair.
Oh yeah, yeah. Never mind.
Oh,
There you go.
that's
I
a
have
good
that one at
one.
the bottom. LDK. That was good. Oh, it doesn't have action though. It has some action.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like yeah, it's just kind of like ridiculous because if it's the other way, and if say Bo said this, I want more action and Skip Loafer, then it would be like, well, you're being sexist because you're taking over something that was made for women and blah blah blah. So it's
Opening
like
Oh.
up
a
window.
no-win situation.
Oh
It's
shoot.
okay if they demand something that's not in there and something that wasn't originally designed for them. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with something being designed for genders. Because that's the other thing I see all the time. It's like, oh, well, just because it's made for boys doesn't mean there isn't girls that like it. It's like, that's fine, but the original intent
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
was to make it for boys, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I see it, and I go back again to when I mentioned Star Wars. It's like Star Wars was originally bought by Disney because they wanted to bring in more boys to Disney. They wanted to bring in, and that's why they also bought Marvel. This is the truth. They bought Marvel and Disney and Star Wars so they could bring in more boys because they predominantly had girls coming because of the princesses and everything. But then the problem happened was they hired people who, over time, decided to do the opposite of what the was for. And I'm going to use Star Wars because that was the one where they're like, well, girls like Star Wars, so we should have it geared more to girls. And look, there's a girl here, and there's a girl there, and then after a while, you're just like, as a girl, going, what happened to Luke Skywalker? What did you do to him?
Oh god, what didn't they do to him?
We won't
Oh,
get
I
on that.
mean,
That's a whole video itself.
I would be interested in Skip and Loafer having some action. What kind?
Go on, Ergo. Go right on Twitter right now. Get on X.
Oh, that's my thing tomorrow. Because apparently a lot of people took off today on X because Mark Hamill decided that everyone would be taking off of X today. Like, oh, that didn't work. That didn't really work out.
Yeah, no, because it didn't even work out for him because he was tweeting. Apparently,
Oh,
it was
was he?
he was doing it as a joke to get a Twitter. I don't know.
Oh gosh, no. I don't think
People
that. I think they fell on their
they want
face and
the
they're trying
attention
to.
for the weirdest things.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
John Boyega talks about it all the time.
So what else do we want to get into on the One Piece thing? Because I saw those few unhinged rants. I honestly think these people are just trying to do it for clicks. I mean, that has to be it.
Yeah, I think it's some people it's for clicks and some people it's for control because
Yeah.
they decide I want this to be for me and I want this to happen in the future story
Yeah.
wise. And if they're going to tell me no, I'm going to shame them into it.
Yeah.
I
I
see people all the time with characters that are chronologically a certain sexuality, and people go, but I want them to be this sexuality. I'm like, well, history, no, they're not. Well, you should because I see them that way. And it's like, but you're not
yeah.
writing the stories. Here's an idea. Why don't you become a comic book writer?
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
true though.
again, look
Get
at comics.
hired.
Look at comics. Every single change has been from the Twitter mob, and every time they do it, guess what happens? The comics don't sell. The original people that bought it and were interested in the ideas and the characters, they no longer like what they are.
Where did most of them go? Manga.
Yeah, yeah. And where did those people making the demands go? They didn't buy any of the comics.
That's true.
That seems
There's
to
a
be the
meme.
biggest issue. Yeah.
There's a
Oh,
meme
there's
like
plenty.
that.
There's plenty of them.
When
Oh my
somebody's
god.
like demands all the change and goes into the comic book store and sees the change was made, and the guy's like, and they're like, great, finally, they've done what I need them to do. And the guy at the store goes, are you going to buy that? And they're like, no, why would I buy that? And they walk.
It's not for me. Yeah, that's exactly what they keep on trying to do. Like everything beholden to us when we're growing up, they're going after. It's like that one has a really good core audience. I really don't have to do much about gathering new people. They'll just get the old people, and then we'll just show them what they're supposed to like what I want. And like, no, you have to listen to the audience. If the audience wanted this, you're gonna have to bring that. You might insert some new things here and there, like take the Thundercats reboot, the good one, the one that was on Cartoon Network. I absolutely
I love
loved
that
it,
one.
and they canceled it. I was furious. It was so well done. It was a different take on Thundercats, but it was really good. They respected the lore, and it gave you what you wanted and some new modern takes on it.
And they canceled that for Thundercats Roar.
Yeah, and yeah, that one lasted long too, didn't it? Yeah, the thing
Well, here's
is,
the
I'll
thing.
be rewatching the old that Thundercats that got canceled back then. I'm still rewatching that with my kids, and kids love it. Will I be watching Thundercats Go, or will anybody be rewatching it? No, it'll be a meme.
Teen
What do you think?
Titans Go. No, I prefer the other Teen Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Here's another good question, Laura. Let me ask you this one. Reading One Piece, because even though they don't necessarily Oda doesn't necessarily state there's romance. I mean, we talked about shipping. We have our own ships. You could
Yeah.
kind of like just imagine that. I don't know why people can't just use their imagination to kind of draw out that maybe after the story ends, this happened. I mean, nobody wants to do that anymore.
I don't understand that either. I mean, my introduction to anime has always been shonen, and even now, I still prefer shonen anime. Like, I love my shoujo manga, don't get me wrong, but if I'm going to read a romance, if I want a romance, I'd rather read it than watch it. And so I say all that because I feel like I've always shipped characters who never have gotten together. Cells at Work is a prime example. White blood cell and red blood cell, one of my ultimate favorite ships, but they're not a ship,
Yeah.
they're not a thing. And so I'm like, that's why I mean, you buy happy merch where people ship them with you. You share your fondness with people who love it, and you create that happy space that's not
Mm-hmm.
a thing in the anime. So it is bizarre to me in that sense that, like, why I get, like, being upset, and it makes me sad when certain ships don't sail, but I don't see how it validates my opinion if I go and blast online
Yeah.
saying that, you know, like,
Do
I don't
Go
get
ahead.
that.
Do most shows that introduce a ship and then get the people to actually they actually ship them and they're together? Doesn't that speed up the end of the series? I asked that because I don't know if you've ever heard of the Miraculous Ladybug, that show. Kids
Yeah.
got me
Mhm.
into watching that. I had to watch what they were watching, and this is one I actually started like. This is actually good. It's it's kind of girly, but it's actually written pretty well. The animation's not bad. And then they came out with the movie. Well, in the show, it's about 5.5 seasons long. The two main characters are there. It's a will they, won't they the entire time. It's agonizing. I heard somebody on YouTube say no one hates this show more than the fans just because they almost do something, then they stop it. And in the movie, though, they redid the whole series. They made it shorter, and they actually spoilers for that movie. If you have any plans on watching that movie, it's on Netflix. Just got there a couple days ago, but they actually kind of ship them at the end of that. At the end of that movie, it was really sweet, really well done. Um, so that's another take on this. I mean, but that already had the romance in there. But once you introduce something like that, it goes on and on. You can't really have those two characters end up together because that's normally the goal, and that kind of finishes the
Yeah.
series. I mean, you start noticing that it kind of falls off once they get together.
I think there's also another problem, just to add on to that, because in that situation, you only have two characters. In One Piece, you have multiple characters, and out there, there's people who have multiple ship pairs.
Hmm.
So, for example, say was dreaming of Nami and Sanji, but say I'm dreaming of Nami and Law, and then suddenly Oda decides to do one of them, you're gonna piss off how many people?
You know, I don't know about One Piece, but this is a great example. You know, talking about the comic stuff, you don't listen. Okay, sorry, this goes against what you said, Bo, but I feel like the creator should not listen to the fans, okay? Because comics, you guys gave plenty of examples. They listened to the fans, it went downhill. Voltron was the same way. The fans like, give us this, give us this, give us this, but nobody really likes
Yeah.
the end of Voltron. My Hero Academia, the creator, I feel like the ship I've always been behind is Deku and oh gosh, what's her name with the brown hair? She's like the first three in the beginning that he meets.
One for
Oh,
with gravity, with the
Gravity
gravity
Girl.
ability.
She floats.
Yeah, yeah, we know you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
So like I feel like for a large part that was the big ship. At least I thought so. Until I met other people and they're like, no, that's the worst ship ever. And I was like, oh, what is this? But anyway, the creator drew Deku and her together, and it got shared online, and the fans rioted, and so much so that he took it down. So when you give in to what the people want, I feel like there's almost like a lack of respect that happens because it's like you're not the creator, author, you're not staying true to your story. I want this, but at the same time, hopefully greater, you want the creator to write the story the way that they write it. Do I like the way that Oda did Ace and how he did not listen to his editors? No, I don't. But I can respect his decision that he decided to do what he did with my favorite character. And so I feel like there's just that credibility that's lost when you cave and you're doing all these things and you
Hmm.
feel like you're giving what the fans they want. And then, like I said, they riot and then nobody's happy because the people who wanted it feel angered by the people who don't want it. The people who didn't get what they wanted are angered by the people who did get it. And it just becomes
Yeah.
a hot garbage mess, like how it is on Twitter right now.
Yeah, somewhat. I somewhat agree with you on that because I would say as long as they listen to their fans, I mean, as a
That
whole,
is true.
not
I was
not
gonna
the
say
vocal minority that keeps on spouting these wild ideas that they want to shoehorn this idea in there.
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise I'm not going to watch it. Well, you weren't watching it before and it was doing great, so keep walking.
That is very true, and I should have, yeah, if it's the fans, it's definitely one thing because it is cool, like, when I was really involved in the indie author community, and sometimes fans would, um let's say, for example, that there was a frog that was introduced at the beginning, and everybody just loved this frog. This frog only has like one scene, and because her fans loved it, she brought back the frog later on, which is sort of a low key true story of somebody I knew. But like those kind of things are really cool, and how the fan can give that kind of like influence and input into the story in that way without the creator losing, their dream that they see for their characters themselves, rather than like random people on the internet who are blasting and other people coming on, joining on the hype train of bashing when they don't have any interest in One Piece or whatever anime it may be at the time, except for this week. Next week it'll be like Berserk or Naruto, and it's like
Berserk is every other week. There's a schedule.
Oh no, there was one that you posted, Carrie. That was.
I wasn't even gonna miss it, but let's just say somebody didn't have a problem with a certain scene that anybody should have a problem with.
Oh, I remember seeing that, and I was like, I'm just gonna scroll down. I don't know how to react to this and what that means. So like,
I was like, this is not worth my time or energy. It's like this person is garbage.
Yeah, and then when you go on there, and this is the other thing, when you went on their page, their own Twitter profile, they kind of do this crap all the time just to trigger people. Like, this is what they do for enjoyment. And that's the other problem. People have to, like, decipher who's giving legit criticism and who's just doing it so the tension can be on them. Because at the end of the day, and this is the thing I have the biggest problem with in the West with entertainment lately, is
it's a prank,
how
bro.
are you making how are you making money if you're catering to mostly people who are not going to spend the money?
Yeah, go for it, Asian.
Yeah, I'll send you the link right now.
Yeah. But yeah, I've noticed that a lot. There's an uprising. It's just a prank, dude, and you'll see a lot of content like that and a lot of tweets that are like that, and you don't get anything from it. Now, granted, I did a little bit of the trolling, maybe a wee bit with Romantic Killer.
Yours is funny though.
I do for fun. I do it, and I try to make sure everyone's laughing at it, even if I have to throw myself at the butt of the joke. And I think it's just fun. It's fun that way. Put Triss's down.
Put who?
Oda got attacked again. Must be a day ending in Y. Yes.
Oh.
It's like every other day. It's like I would remember hearing about that, and I still hadn't even read the series. Just I knew it's crazy. I don't know any mangaka's name except for Fujimoto, and I knew of Oda because he was always in the news, in Twitter or the news.
Well, and you know what? If there is moments where he can be a little sassy, and I kind of appreciate him for like when somebody had wrote to him, and he put this in one of the questions in the back of the manga where they said, "How do you like?" So they were trying to mock the way he drew women, so they were like, "Oh, so how do you draw women like that?" And he did the whole, "Well, you start with like an upside down X."
Yeah,
I mean, upside down triangle. And then you do two circles. And I have to say, you know what? That's the best comeback on that type of crap. Sometimes you have to be like that with certain types of people. Because you can see it coming. And you're just like, this person's not serious about my work. This person is not purchasing my work. This is just somebody who wants attention and can get clout and say, oh, look what I did to so-and-so. But he came back at them, and I thought that was great. Now, there's a difference between coming back at them and then just saying all fans are blah, blah, blah all the time.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't hear about
you
this
want
one.
another group of people. What happened?
Vincent, what was that about the Jujutsu Kaisen?
I didn't hear about that either. I didn't even know about the Zom 100 either. I didn't know about that.
The lady who lied about... Wait, no. I passed a tweet by that. I kind of rolled my eyes because like, oh, here goes another person making stuff up. But I don't know if it... So are they saying that Jujutsu Kaisen was made by AI or not? So
I don't know. That's interesting. I gotta look it up.
Yeah. All right.
I
So
didn't hear about that one. I didn't really know somebody was going after the creator of Zom 100. I know other creators, and we've talked about it on here, have been attacked by people who didn't get what they wanted in the story,
yeah.
and
Now,
but
granted, this one needs to end pretty quick because again, I was done at 6, and I liked it. It started off really good, and then just got I'm losing interest fast. 6 seems like a good part where they probably should have stopped, but some people
Zom,
like it. Yeah.
okay. I was like, One Piece? What? Only six? What are you
Yes. One Piece done at 6.
Oh, I don't know what that means
Oh,
either.
that was AI because of the ghosting
What?
between the frames.
Oh yes, yes. When it's basically like a transition between one scene to the next, but in the middle of a fight, and it kind of looked like a little, I guess like the what is it called, where it's where you have a picture and you can barely see it. I
Oh,
can't
kind
even
of
remember
like
the word.
transparent,
Yeah, yeah, it's almost transparent. There you go.
translucent.
It's like I'm forgetting the word. Gosh, but yeah, it looks really transparent, and they basically said, hey, this is done by AI, and I guess that was I guess what Vincent is saying is I guess it was a lie. So that's weird that they would do that.
Yeah, and that's another thing. People are gonna make accusations that are like stupid too, and you're like,
Yeah, and I think it was these payouts that X did. Like if you have so many interactions and all that, you get paid this much, and that's why it's literally why people just need to start taking pictures of what they're angry about and quote and tweeting that, because when you retweet that stuff, you're getting them money. Hey,
hello.
Hey guys,
good to see you.
I have a
can you hear
feeling you
me?
want to get in on this
Oh yeah,
Yes, I had a feeling you want to get in
All
on
right,
this
cool.
conversation.
the floor
How
is
are
Uh,
you
yours.
doing, by the way?
what are we talking about right now? What are we talking about right now?
We're
Uh,
talking about there's a recent thing going on One Piece. People on Twitter going after Oda for a comment he made back in 2009, allegedly, because again, I'm just going off what somebody translated, not sure what the full context was, and if the translation is accurate. He was saying that a female wrote in wanting more romance in One
mhm.
Piece and was wondering why there wasn't more romance, and he said that he doesn't feel romance is necessary in the story for the main cast, and that he writes shonen and that it's more targeted towards boys. He knows there's females that love Luffy, but if they are looking for romance, they should read shoujo.
Yeah, and we
And people
basically
took
said
that
that
as
she was a
being,
clown.
yeah, they're saying he's sexist, misogynist. He's trying to gatekeep girls out of One Piece.
Shame.
What a statement.
Yeah, I get letters every day telling me to stop reading it.
Stop reading One Piece. No, no, no.
My head hurts, and
Laura's got
I've
those
been
from
here for 2
FedEx.
minutes.
Yeah. You look kind of burnt out from just hearing that. Like, oh my god, people did what?
Wow.
Why?
Okay, that's odd. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, like there are moments, even when I've been watching One Piece as slowly as I have, there have been moments where there's some comments where it's like, oh, interactions, because I feel like for the majority of like what I've seen so far, it's mainly about the interactions that everyone has with each other. So
Yeah.
like with that, you do with what you want. Like I think Carrie, you're like into like Sanji Nami.
Oh no, that was me back in
That's
that
you
was
are.
me last
I'm
year.
I'm into Sanji. I'm into Sanji Robin because of the whole Annie's lobby and the way Sanji's acts. I'm like, all right, that's mine. And then Frankie comes over, and then eventually I can see Frankie and Robin. But yeah, like there are enough interactions that everyone has with each other where like it just makes sense. The way the characters like
Mhm.
act, like it makes sense. So people like I agree if you want romance, there's fan fictions, there's stuff like that. Make your own story. A lot of people do that. So
hmm
um
Oh, hey,
just
Frankie and what's it, Robin have gotten
Robin.
pretty far.
Yeah, from what I've heard. But yeah,
If you think you mentioned that one scene.
yeah, bro. Oh no, I remember that scene now because that's how he joins the crew, which is really
Yes.
weird. But yeah, so yeah, like just don't like I agree in the notion where creators should listen to their fans, but they
Mm,
shouldn't do exactly what their fans want because it's their own story. I get like taking something from like audience to be like, oh, like yeah, I can like give a nod, but yeah, but to go after going after them, it's like last year when everyone went over on Mappa's case for like crapping on Attack on Titan because everything was CG. It's like they have like 8 shows, like
Yeah.
calm down. I said that from the beginning. Look at their back catalog. Hey Mark.
Hey,
Hi, sorry I'm late.
we got
Okay.
a party.
I'm like, look at their back catalog. Do you want anything else to suffer? Like Titans kind of like, yeah, they sell the boat at that point. That's why I'm like, I'd rather have
Go
CGI
ahead.
here than in Jujutsu. Because
Yeah,
Mhm.
that
I'd
would
say
be
it depends on the type of CGI and the quality too. I mean, look
yeah,
at
exactly. Like there's good CGI. Like
yes,
whenever
Spider So What ended pretty horribly.
whenever I see like an Orange Studio show, I'm
Yeah.
good. They've done Beastars, they've done Land of Lustrous. They have good CGI. Good CGI is done, and like it's to make cuts. I think like the latest or the entirety of season 2 of Jujutsu, they've used AI to like help them with certain shots and stuff, which I get it because there's a lot.
Is that true? I mean, because
I've heard a comment or two about that on X.
yeah,
That's a
Did
thing
they maybe use it to kind of like
help them out a bit, but it's
help
like
them out like with the moves? Because there's a lot of like
there's a lot of movements,
physical like
especially
fight movements,
so
and
it's not
probably
confirmed
use it
yet.
to see like how it would flow, and then they animate it separately.
Yeah.
So it's
I
not
think that's what
confirmed
they
from
do.
us, right? Well, we haven't heard anybody that's actually confirmed whether it's true or not. So
I haven't.
something we're gonna look
No,
into.
I haven't. It's just been going around that
Yeah.
they've used AI, but I'm like, they have so many things coming up. I don't blame them.
Yeah, is it coming in the future? Most definitely. I mean, you see how close it gets. I mean, stuff you see that's AI made. You can, if you watch it close enough, yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Look at Disney; they don't even do hand drawn animation.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but
That's
it's
what I was just
learning.
thinking
It
of
can
with
only
Disney.
get better. That's the only thing. And we can only, yeah, I would say we can get better. But looking at the art that we're getting recently, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I was also saying to like Laura and Bo that yes, you can ship and you can hope for certain relationships, but if Oda decided to actually do a relationship, then there's going to be another group of people who are hoping for a different coupling. They're going to just be completely outraged.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Because
be
you're
like
dealing with so many characters, there's so many
that's
potential
the thing. Yeah,
possibilities.
that's the thing. You deal with so many characters, so like someone is gonna feel left out. But like, what are you gonna do at that point? Like, not everyone's gonna be pitchforking. Like, when does Zoro break up with freaking Robin? I want him to be with Luffy. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah.
I do feel like later on he'll
Yeah.
dive into the concept of romance with the main crew, but that's like far away. I don't think that like there's anything in sight. And like I said, like he said, I don't think like that's something he aims for. Really, there's backstories with romances. Like
Yeah.
There's been plenty. I was
there's been
telling
plenty
you,
of that.
I know Bo hasn't hit there yet, but there's especially coming up after the time jump.
I'm sure they
Yeah.
end happily.
Like imagine like 3/4 into Wano, and then there's like a panel. It's like, oh, Nami's dating Brooke. It's like it just feels out of place.
It really would.
Yeah.
Like what? Okay.
It'd be like the skeleton of all the people on the ship.
Yeah.
I love his
I'll tell you
line.
what though. About Wano, my husband, he is not a shipper, but he really ships Zoro with the what's the one girl that has the green hair?
Odin's daughter. Odin's daughter.
Yeah, I even have a pin in honor of my husband, but I have never seen my husband ship. I was like, that's a ship he really wants to see.
And that's kind of the other thing. There's like a lot of one-sided like romances in One Piece, which you get into more after the time jump. I mean, Sanji's in love with every female he walks into, except for the ones on.
Is one day he will settle down and marry a woman. That's my hope for Sanji. I was like, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. But also,
hey, he's shooting his shot. You can't win. You can't win the lottery if you're not.
One of them will eventually like look at him and be like, "I like you," and then he's immediately gonna be like, "No one has ever said they liked me before," and then just he settles down. That's what I believe. Someone just needs to confess, like, yeah, I like you like that, and he goes, "Oh, I just had to ask."
He almost devoted himself to that one princess in Dressrosa. Remember, he was ready to give up being on the scratch.
I think if that were to happen, I think Oda would not have good things for that person's future. It's like, oh yeah, this is the perfect match for them. They're about to ship. You give him enough criticism from this whole thing this past week, and he'll probably do it. It's like, you know what? I'll give you romance.
Well, you know,
I mean,
there was
I mean,
another
that man a
quote he
donut.
had.
That man could be a bagel.
There was another quote he allegedly made where he said there was not going to be any romance between the crew of the Straw Hats. So I take that as there could still be a romance, but not with each other on the ship.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It could be
like
people they meet along the way, which is kind of sort of been already
yeah,
established.
like Usopp with the one girl from his village. Like that's
Yes.
obvious.
Yes.
Yes.
Whenever it ends, like that's obvious. Like
Yeah.
he'll go
You know,
back.
somebody came at me. Well, they didn't come at me, but they're like, Usopp's probably gonna forget about her and go for someone else. And I was like,
No,
the audacity!
no.
No,
I
no,
was
no, no.
like, how could you say that? But we
This
never.
is one true friend.
I mean, we never know. But I was definitely like, are we still friends after that kind of comment?
And not once has anybody said anything about Chopper. The shame on all of y'all.
Oh, it is
See,
true.
I can't say anything because you're not there yet.
Oh, never mind.
So Mark
Shoki.
talks about targeting. Is it wrong if say and I'll go over this real quick. The One Piece creators being attacked because there is a small group of female fans who want romance, and he says he doesn't feel like romance is necessary for his manga because it's a shonen, which is typically targeted towards males. He knows that there's girls that
Yeah.
like One Piece, but if they really want heavy romance inspired stories, you should read shoujo. Is there anything wrong with that, in your opinion?
No.
Tell us, Mara.
I mean, he's got a story in mind. Obviously, there's not a lot of romance. I don't know. I've only read volume 1 of One Piece. I'm waiting for that box set to go on sale. So I can't really say with
I told
any
you when that was
detail.
on sale.
Well, it's not on sale enough. Okay, I'm looking for below $100. So
Yeah.
we were almost there with the right
You
stuff.
realize
but
this was all over $1,000 last year, right? You need to jump on
I
that
don't
before it goes.
care. Like, I want it cheaper.
I ain't settling for less.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with what he said. If you're looking for romance, One Piece isn't it. I mean, it's about pirates. So if you want romance, maybe go watch Pirates of the Caribbean. It has a little bit in there, but not a whole lot. So yeah,
Just enough.
Well
I agree
said.
with him.
Yeah.
It's like go read some Shoujo Beat stuff. So
There we go. There we go.
We recommend Yona of the Dawn. You got romance, you got action, go for it.
exactly, there's so much to choose from if you want romance. So
Don't let the manga hit you on the way out.
Yeah, it got crazy on Twitter. We were talking about the comments that followed where he's being misogynist, he's trying to gatekeep girls out of One Piece. And Prof Otaku's got his own
Isn't be
Thanks
out.
for- it's no,
Zoro and
it's you know,
Sanji.
you would think, right?
It's a
I don't
very
know.
low key one.
There's a lot of fanfic that might support that.
Not a lot of shipping,
Yeah.
but they are all together.
not shipping.
They go antiquing too. I mean, I don't know.
It's not legal, but they do. Oh my God. Hi, Prof. How are you doing? But yeah, it's kind of like it gets to this point where certain people think that, oh, yes, I know it's made for mostly them, but I want it now for me. So make it all for me. And it's like,
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah.
Here's some shoujo. Go sit down over there and read and leave us alone.
Plus,
Yeah.
if you're saying that, you have experienced whatever the series is, meaning you enjoy it, meaning that it currently is for you. It's not what you want, but like you're enjoying it enough. So like if it wasn't for you, you wouldn't be reading or watching it at all.
Yeah.
Like you have some interest
Yeah.
in it. It's for you. It's just not what you exactly envision.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's some people that were just so upset about it. It's like that. Yeah, it's sad that they can't just do this. I'm like, I mean, how far are you in the series? Because you have to really like it to get the second box set. You have to really like it.
Yeah.
Because again, Marg and I went back and read the first one. That was way more interesting than the anime.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And if I could go back in time, I would, definitely just the manga. The anime is so long. But do we even want to get to the show?
Oh, it's the
The
live
live
action
action?
or the? They already promised that they're not going to do anything with romance on that.
I am
But it's
waiting.
heavily involved.
I am just at this point. I am waiting. I haven't watched the latest trailer, so
I haven't either.
I
Not that big.
know I've seen screenshots, so I know I've seen what Arlon looks like, but it was like I got a glance and I was like, oh, look away, and then I've seen a close up of Kobe, but besides that, like I purposely when it was all over, it was like new One Piece trailer. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait. This is coming out on my birthday, which was so weird. And I'm like,
cool.
this is gonna be my after birthday treat because I'm gonna just wait and
punishment,
and then watch it and see what we get from there. Yeah, I expect it to be like a mixed bag, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go into it thinking like, oh, this is the worst thing ever, because I watched the initial trailer. Because I watched that whole Netflix convention thing, and they were finally up, and it's like, oh, like this is promising. Stuff looks unfinished because, of course, but I don't say I have hope, but I don't expect myself to be like, yeah, no, everything is bad. There will be redeeming qualities. I like the idea. When I was in Texas, when I hung out with Jerry and Alyssa from my wife and me, we like talked about it for like a couple minutes, like a good like 10 minutes. Like there are nice things in it. The nods to like other outfits is very nice. And then like they're gonna change stuff, obviously. Like Usopp's not gonna have a gigantic nose. Bye Sanji's curly eyebrow, which is like
and
it's fine.
And Carrie, you were talking about Nami's hair, but I noticed the actress in the recent interviews or videos of her, she has blonde hair, so I'm wondering if she had a different role in between and had to dye her hair or bleach her hair. That could have been what happened.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because if the show is good, hopefully that'll get improved if they do make it to a second season. I think I'm just and it's because of my bad experience with other IPs. I've loved watching them getting like just dragged through the mud, and I'm just kind of like, oh, now they're gonna do One Piece.
Yeah.
Don't mess this up.
There's plenty of material that can do live action that would be great in live action. I don't want them to do it because I know they would ruin it, but there's easy ones. Like say Zom 100. Netflix is notorious for pushing out zombie movies. I mean, I don't know. I've lost count on how many
they
there
have
are.
a live action.
They announced one. They announced one. Yeah,
it's coming.
This week.
I mean, hell, Horimiya, that would be one they could easily do.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah,
I know.
I have to tell my mom.
I was having a conversation with Marg and Laura on Instagram saying that I think Yono the Dawn would make a great Korean drama because it is set in Korean, and that would work because they've gotten really good with their like historical dramas, and I'm like, you don't have any like magic or anything in that, so you could do that live action, so you don't have to worry about too much CGI.
Yeah, like I honestly think the number one thing you want from a live action is just good actors.
Yes,
that's the thing that sells you. If your actors aren't that great, they're gonna get made fun of. It doesn't matter if the source material has been like oh, like the source material has been flip flopped or whatever. People will enjoy a good performance and be like, yeah, I like it. That's why a lot of people liked I forget his name, but the actor that played L for the live action Death Note. Everyone was like, yeah, he was a good spot though, even though it's completely
William Dafoe.
No, not Willem Dafoe. Dude had like only 2 lines in that movie.
Oh, okay.
And his face was never shown.
Nate Wolf.
No, that's Light. The guy who plays L.
L.
Everyone was like, oh, he did the mannerisms and everything right.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Oh. Like that was great. But besides that, it's completely like But I think if you give yourself one role that like, oh, like this was a poor adaptation, but that one guy was amazing. Like that's kind of what you hope for. Like I really hope that's the thing for the guy who plays Usopp, because I feel like if you watch any of like the interviews and all the like promo stuff they do, you see the charisma for some of the guys. Like the dude who plays Zoro is like, you can tell like he loves what he's doing, and then the Sanji guy is like, I love it, and then the fact they're so invested, they're like, all right, me and Inaki are doing the Spanish dub because we speak Spanish. Like that tells you they have somewhat faith to them. My hope for that live action is that they make it Alabasta. Out of all the early arcs, Alabasta you can make a whole season out of Alabasta and be like, this is a heist type like season where everything is just big and overblown. But
Netflix can do heists. Yeah,
they can, and so they just make it seem like it's a heist and like it'll be good. But you need good acting for that. That's the thing. So like
my other thing, and here's where I also have a problem. You're right, good actors, but also you need for certain things you need the right effects. And you're talking about Alabasta. They bring Chopper in. It's gonna go one or two ways.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. The Chopper thing is gonna be very tricky, but that's from when they get to that. I don't know what it'll be like.
Yeah, we got cart before the horse.
Vivi's big duck that's with him the entire time, like that is very tricky. But like it's very tricky because CGI is a big thing with One Piece. If you like try to put it in live action, there's gonna be CGI everywhere. There's no escaping that for One Piece. So you got to put some time and effort to that.
Let's look at how they're doing Luffy's stretches. I mean, I'm seeing more little clips of him fighting and dodging. And it's like, it's not bad. Everyone that I hear complaining is just like, if anything has a hint of CGI, they completely write it off. I mean, it's getting better. I don't want to completely, simp for CGI, but it's getting better. And I would say One Piece actually has some decent CGI in there.
If Luffy was a real person, he'd just be CGI'd.
Huh?
If Luffy was a real person, he'd just be a CGI dude. That's literally it.
I feel
and that's the one thing I have hope with that.
I say I'm pretty hopeful for the live adaptation or live action because Oda's on it, and I'm like, I've only watched Full Metal Alchemist, and that is my bar. So I feel like it should be easy to surpass that. I'm so disappointed in those live actions, but it really meant a lot to me personally as a fan that the original voice actor of Luffy, that she told the actor in the live action that he did a good job. And I don't know, it was really moving for me. And so I feel like I'm going to come in. I'm like, you got Oda behind you and you've got the Japanese voice actor of Luffy behind you. Like, you can't go wrong. You can't mess up. It will be different. But I'm like, I'm willing to be optimistic. Plus, I'm like, man, the setting is what steals my heart. Like, I need to be able to book a flight there. like, man, that is like the biggest disappointment for me because they just, I mean, the characters look okay. I was just so focused on how they just brought the world of One Piece alive. Like, to know or even just remotely feel that somewhere in the world is the world of One Piece. Like, that itself felt really cool to me. Even though I feel like that's like a small part of it, but
you'd mentioned that everybody mentions it, that Oda is on board and we don't know to the extent of what his involvement is. Yes, that's awesome, and I think that thing has a better chance. Only thing is, everyone answers to somebody, and that's where I'm like, cool, he's on there, but there could be somebody saying, hey, you need to get this wrapped up, or we're pulling funding, or we're doing this or that. We don't know the entire backstory. It's not like Oda's, I mean, it could be, and we just don't know, but he might not be the top guy.
Didn't they do reshoots because Oda didn't like some?
And again, that could be part of the contract. There's things we don't know. That's why I'm still kind of on the fence. It still could be really great, and it still could bomb pretty hard. We look at Cowboy Bebop. I was so ready for that series with the trailer. The trailer sold me. And I think it had 2 trailers that sold me on it. Started watching it. First one was okay, and then it went downhill at episode 2. And I forced myself to watch every agonizing hour of that. But yeah, I will not do that with One Piece if they do that same thing again. The dialogue was horrible, most of all, and that was hard to get through because of that. And if I start seeing that same dialogue, I'm out. or hearing.
Oh boy. Well, any other closing thoughts on One Piece before we move on to our manga licenses?
I think it'll do good at whatever streaming box office wise it would be. Like I know Netflix does a top 10 thing on their page. It's
Yes.
gonna be top 10 for like a week. Like
Yes.
it's gonna be on there for like a
Minimum.
good week because that's
Minimum.
how dedicated this fan base is. And people are gonna want to be curious. It's like, oh, it's only even though One Piece is on Netflix, the anime, but they'll be like, oh, this isn't anime. Like it is anime, but it's real people. Let me check it out. So people are going to watch it. And then I think the big litmus test is initially like what happens after like week 2, like how because I think it stays like top 3 for a while because how big the fan base is, but how fast it peters out of that will determine like what it is, and obviously like word of mouth and like what everyone thinks of it when it comes out. Things will be skipped. It's 10-hour-long episodes. I expect
8 episodes.
backstories to be short, not as impactful. Dialogues to be
Quick.
witty and just like snap, and then
Sanji is definitely going to be toned down because it's
definitely
doesn't.
at least beginning Sanji, and then like the whole I don't know how long Arlong Park is. I think it's like from what the episode titles were. It's like the last 2 or 3.
It looks like from what I've seen, they're starting the Arlong Park during the Sanji meetup.
Okay. But yeah, like
So it looks like they might
I
be
also
using that fight scene with Sanji instead.
Yeah, I also agree with Laura. Like, you want to be immersed in the world of One Piece. That should be like your main goal. And like, as fans, we're gonna look at moments like, I know a lot of people like the way when the first trailer came out, the Zoro execution place looked. It's like, it looks exactly like that place. So you see the Captain Morgan's poster in the back, like things like that. The initial meetups, obviously introductions will be like very key. How will they be brought into live action and like what'll do good for them? Like I believe up until I watched the last episode of the anime I watched was when they introduced Brooklyn. Before that, I totally believe that Sanji's was the best intro to the main crew. And so like I look forward to that and hopefully that being good. Also like that atmosphere, the Barati, not the Barati, the whatever I forget the name of the ship he's in. That's like the restaurant. I think it's Barati. Like that's a whole vibe in of itself. Like a bunch of roughnecks. Like you need to capture that. It's like okay, like I get it immediately.
The dude they hired as what's his name, the chef. Oh, I forgot his name.
Zeph. I think it's Zeph.
Zeph. The guy looks exactly like the cartoon.
He does.
Like the guy when they were announcing the cast, I was like, the dude looks exactly it's like they took him off the page, and all they have to do now is just put on the mustache and the beard, and it's perfect.
The giant hat.
Yeah.
So they're doing well with the casting visually. So I'm hoping that everything else just comes together.
Yeah, exactly. Visually, they all look great.
Yeah.
Visually, everyone looks like you would think.
Yeah.
Like I have no problems with the way most of the characters that I've seen look like so far. Everyone matches it. Just their acting has got to be the thing that puts me over. Like from the initial trailer, the one gripe I had is that the dude who voices Luffy, he's just doing his regular voice, which I get it, but he's been everywhere praising One Piece and is the exact same voice. So I might have to get used to it, but that's why there's a sub.
The Japanese dub.
That's why there's a sub. But I will give the English performances a chance. I will say when I initially watch it, I will watch it in their original voices, the actors' voices, to see if I like it. And then eventually, like, if I get to a point where I'm like, all right, it's not doing it for me, I know I have the safety net of they're the Japanese voice actors.
Yeah.
You can switch them, and it feels the exact same thing. Just the dialogue will be different because obviously the script is different. It's been altered a bit. So
I think the fans,
but I don't want it to be like when everyone, if it does like okay, when everyone shares clips on like X or Instagram or whatever, they just put the Japanese voices on it. It's like, okay, cool. It's like, and then it's like, okay, they like, we like you, but like we didn't listen to you. We listened to the originals, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the whole series is probably going to be for new fans because I think established fans will probably go for, like you said, they'll go for the sub because they're used to that
Mhm.
voice, and they'll probably that. I think that'll work well.
Yeah.
That's going to be more of the fans that are already there, but for the new fans, I think that's what this whole series is for, and I think that's who the most people that it'll actually hook, especially if it's good. If it's even remotely good, it's going to hook. Because even though I showed it to my family, they know nothing about One Piece, but they watch that. It's like that looks really good.
Mhm.
Yep, my kids felt the same way.
Yeah. I'm hoping that a lot of the comedy we get during the like initial like pre-time skip where the crew is just in the going merry fooling around. I hope we get a lot of that in the live action. So it's like, okay, when people watch it, they can laugh at that and be like, oh, I want more of the goofiness. And then you can transition them. Like the best thing you would hope for is this to be not bad. So you could be like, all right, you've never watched anime before. Here's live action, but it's okay. And it gives you hints of the original source where it's like, all right, if you like it, here's the anime, here's the manga, enjoy that. Like it's just as fun and even better because a lot of people are gonna just say like, hey, it's better.
Then you can get your heart broken too with these backstories. So
Exactly.
you now have your humor, but then come have your heart broken when you know the backstory.
You know, will there be time for backstories? Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure there will be because of the people.
No, I mean like
hired.
in the like if you go transition to the manga or the anime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Because man, Oda, he excels. Like you're having a good time, and then you find yourself crying, over characters you never imagined you would cry over.
Like, give me a break, Oda.
For real, for real.
And then the big hope is that the final episode after credit scene is just Jamie Lee Curtis as the Doctor, and then you get a CGI reindeer foot, and then you're like, okay, it looks fine. Give me season 2 because.
Yeah, she said she'd do it.
No, I wholeheartedly think like they can, even though like her notoriety has skyrocketed in the last couple years. I feel like she'd be like, no, I really like this series, so I will do it because I like One Piece. So like initially, where everyone, I think I forgot the name of the character because I've never seen Cowboy Bebop. I forgot the name of the character that was introduced at the end of the live action.
Oh, Ed.
But yeah,
Ed.
Ed. They do that for Chopper, but like you don't see Chopper. It'll just be a hint of Chopper, but it'll be Jamie Lee Curtis. So it's like, oh my god, they have Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, here's something for season 2 if it does really well. It's an established actor that most people know. Because most of the actors for this live action are sort of like low key. Like I think Emily Rudd is like the biggest one. Like unless you like are very into like K dramas and Japanese dramas, the Zoro dude is like oblivious to you, but if not, he's in everything.
Very famous.
Yeah, he's very famous for like those things. But besides that, like to a mainstream audience, most of these people, like I've never heard of anybody in this cast except Emily Rudd because I've seen some of her things. So when I initially looked at them, I was like, I don't know these people, so I hope they are really good actors, but they look like them, so I'll enjoy it.
See, I only knew McKenyu for 2 reasons. One, because he was on like that last movie for Rurouni Kenshin as the villain, and then because he's Sonny Chiba's son.
And I was saying, be careful when you compare Ed's performance to anything because that was like the final nail in that coffin. It was like, okay,
oh no, I watched
dead.
I watched that scene and I was like, no wonder this got canceled. Because I watched the first episode and I was like, it's not. I was like, I'll just watch the original. And then I saw the backlash and I was like, I have to check out the scene though. And I watched it and I was like, oh, that makes total sense to why
I feel bad for the actress, but it's like, I mean, no, nothing towards her. It's just the way they wrote that and the way the way they directed her on doing that. Like that was
like even though Cowboy Bebop is really big, it's hasn't been in the public eye for so long. Meanwhile, One Piece is something that is constantly going on. It has more notoriety at the moment. Maybe like back when Cowboy Bebop originally ran, it probably was seen more as like, oh my god, this is great. But like it died down obviously because it's a short series. Meanwhile, this is #1 in most places, so it's very tricky. And of course, Oda is going to be behind it because it's his baby. Yeah. So like it's not going to be mishandled.
Right.
Marg. Oh.
Marg?
That's right. It worked. I was about to give her some Zom hate.
All right. Well, moving on from One Piece, Laura had found us some license announcements for the week, and we're going to start off with Titan.
Which one was it?
Oh, Kite Books.
Titan Bucks. So
Oh.
they have a couple here. The first one is Grace Rosa.
Nice.
I did a video with them. They're really nice people.
Nice. That looks pretty cool. I like that
I
cover.
like the cover. It reminds me of the maid from Black Lagoon.
Yes.
I would say, yeah, the art looks pretty good on there. I would like some kind of background, but yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, let me see if there's anything. And this
Oh,
is
yeah.
3 Exorcism Siblings.
That is a gorgeous cover right there.
Yeah, as I said, the
Oh,
gorgeous
Very-
cover, if anything.
Very vibrant.
And it is.
Is there any details on here?
Any
Do I have to
details
go
on it?
another? And then we have
Speed
Speed.
Grapher.
It looks
I
older.
don't know what that is, but I'm sold on it already.
It looks older.
Let's see.
Yeah, it looks interesting. All right, so there's no
Hold on.
no
I'm pulling up
descriptions.
something.
Well, if Marg is listening, I would like to take this chance to try to warn y'all. One Piece, when it comes out, again, if it's remotely good, those box sets are going to start disappearing. So if you're waiting for a deal, I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, here we go. Speed Grapher. In the seedy underworld of supernatural Tokyo, a troubled former war photographer attempts to save a gifted 15-year-old girl from a sinister cabal that wants to exploit her powers. Why do I feel like I've seen this anime?
It's I was about to say that. I was like, that sounds familiar.
What's it called
again? Sounds
again?
interesting too.
Speed Grapher.
Let me take a look.
And then the next one, the one with the really vibrant cover, the 3 Exorcism Siblings.
Mhm.
In the mountains above Japan, Moromo Yamamori spends his days tending to his family shrine, fighting Tengu, known as monsters who feast on human flesh, and making sure his 2 younger brothers will never have to pick up his mantle. Unable to escape the life forced upon him by his parents in a dark ritual involving the monster's blood, all he knows is that his existence is a curse. He's destined to die young in the service of others. Okay, that one sounds really interesting.
Seems good. Speed Grapher has an anime that came out 2005.
Okay, yes, then I've seen it.
Reviews are really good for it, so possibly a pickup.
If that's the one, it was good.
Yeah.
Okay, Grace Rosa. All right, Grace Rosa is an assassin driven by a single thing, discovering the secret of her adopted father's disappearance. He trained her to become a lethal killer machine, able to wield any weapons she can get her hands on, but before inducting her into the ranks of the shadowy organization known as Alterna. But could the very people she served as a hired gun have something to do with him vanishing? Okay, I'm already interested in all 3 of these.
Yeah.
It seems like good. Now, I don't know anything about this publisher. Or is it it's the publisher, right?
Yeah, Kite Books is a very small publisher in California, if I remember correctly.
I think that was Titan. Titan, I think.
Yeah, Titan.
Oh, that was Titan.
And don't they do the
Titan
prequel
does...
to
Don't they do that Rider one with the
the reason I asked is I'm wanting to get to learn more about publishers because of the whole Denpa thing. I'm still waiting for my Under Ninja 2, and it's been released for I don't know a couple months already. It's getting irritating, and apparently, when they drop something, it takes months or not like a year. I mean, how long is what's that Kaiju?
Kaiju's supposed to be 6 volumes. At least the part they're adapting is 6 volumes long, and they just dropped for like 2 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of wondering how what's their track record, because I don't want to get into a new series that looks really good.
They've done pretty good. They did that. They have that series that's the prequel to Astro Boy.
Oh, Adam. Adam the Beginning.
Yeah. Adam the Beginning.
Wait, aren't they also the Kamen Rider?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Branch of that. If there's a branch that's attached to them that does that, I forgot.
Okay. I think they also did the Afro Samurai.
They don't do the translation.
Yeah, that was the one that we were kind of thinking. It's like, are they using AI to translate? And then we start hearing things.
They're using Google.
They're using Google Translate. In our opinion.
But Titan's different than the one you said, right, Asian Mer?
Yeah, I thought you said Kiten. Kiten does like the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. Like they're really small. They're really small.
Okay, once you
I
said
enjoy
that,
them.
I knew who they were because I was like, what do they publish? But yeah, when you said
That's their
that,
big thing. In my opinion, that's their big thing.
Oh yeah, they do Titan.
Yeah, they done Afro Samurai. I don't know how that volume is, but I know that
Well,
they did.
first off, I gotta tell you, I was
It's
pretty
comic.
upset that this is right here. First thing you see when you open the thing, like, oh wow, what a great way to do this series. And are you getting the box set of 2 volumes?
Is there an ad for the anime on there,
No. This is what
or
is
just
it?
their stuff?
Based on the Netflix live
Yeah, just their
action, the
stuff.
original anime.
No, I meant like the Afro Samurai anime. Like they should have just done an ad for its anime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you would
right.
think
Put
that.
in there Samuel L.
Yeah, be like,
Jackson.
hey, like this is
please.
on.
But
This
no,
is
they're
on
gonna
Crunchyroll.
push the series of the live action Cowboy Bebop.
That's
Wow.
That's so dumb. It has Samuel Jackson in it. You could have that would have been an easy ad.
Yeah.
Like,
Very
hey,
easy.
the series starring Samuel Jackson. Okay, wow.
Yeah. I want to know how much money went into that because nobody's gonna buy that. That was a complete failure on Netflix. Who had extra money left?
They probably paid them like a good amount. It's a small publisher, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. I can't say I wouldn't do it if the price was right, but my God, who had money for that?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right. The next one that we have here is Monogatari novels, and this is called Soulmate. It's a GL.
Yeah, supposedly it's the all right. How do you spell? Okay, I know how to say manhwa. That's the Korean version. What's the
Yeah.
Oh, Mo.
What's the other
Oh,
way? It's really
I
close,
forget.
but it's not.
Chinese.
I forgot.
the
Moa
manu?
or
Manu? I don't know, but whatever that one is up there. But
Manhu. Yeah,
supposedly
Manhua.
this is like from
Carrie,
what
could
I
you click on the image? I want to look at the cover closer.
Yeah.
it's
Enhance.
supposedly like it's one of the first
loading.
GL novels that's
Oh.
actually been published in the US. There was a lot of excitement for it, and the cover's really pretty.
That's a beautiful cover.
They're
Yeah.
gonna be
It's an
dropping.
omnibus too.
Yeah, it'll be hardback. It's gonna have a dust
Ooh,
jacket with the
hardback.
was it French flaps or something?
Oh.
They're gonna have an acrylic stand and some kind of other big thing when they drop it.
So it's
But
gonna
a
look
lot
gorgeous.
a lot of people were really excited. Like this publisher is one to keep your eye on. They are really hitting it hard with like, I mean, Seven Seas is giving a lot of the BL of these, and I think they have 2, but I don't know. They have a different diversity than Seven Seas, in my opinion, because was it Donami? Nobody Come For Me, but the covers all look the same to me, and it's very hard for me to, unless it's like, was it Heaven's Official Blessing? Like, unless there's that, all the others, I'm like, I don't get the differences between them because they all look so similar. Their publisher doesn't seem to be like that. Like they have where this is a different series, different genre, not all just fantasy. So a lot of people are really excited, and I think they're like a Spanish-based publisher because they're going to be doing Spanish novels and English novels. So that's just what I gathered from the web. I apologize if any of that information I just said is wrong.
It's at least something to look into, and that's some interesting information. I'm actually gonna keep an eye on them.
Interesting concept too. I was reading this synopsis. This
Same.
is Q went to sleep embraced by her girlfriend Yanzi. However, when she opened her eyes, she realized that she had been transported 10 years back to the past, back when she was still in high school. While she sees this as an opportunity to save the lover of her life, what she doesn't realize is that her teenage self is in her adult body 10 years into the future and has no clue about the life Q has built or how precious the time she has left with Yanzi is. No matter the time, no matter the age, their love resonates as they stand by each other's side. Will they be able to conquer fate?
Oh my goodness. That sounds intense.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds.
So when does this drop?
They're going to be doing a big pre-order for it here very soon. I think they I don't know if they dropped a pre-order link. They dropped some kind of form.
It's right there it's a pre-order link right there on the side.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I was just testing you to see if you knew that.
Okay, that's totally fine.
Just kidding. I did not see.
Yeah,
I
no.
didn't see that.
I really want to check this out. The cover and the synopsis itself just sold me. And
They
Yeah.
got the deluxe,
stand?
the deluxe thing. Like they're the only English publisher I know who's giving all of the merch with it. Like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, come on, like Kodansha, like somebody was saying, like, you know, at volume 7 of A Sign of Affection, they have a special art book with it.
Mm-hmm.
But we are not getting it in the States. Like
Mhm.
everybody else is getting it but us. And so I just recently ordered the French edition of it so I could get the art book because
Yeah.
who needs words? They're just pretty
Yeah,
pictures.
pretty pictures.
But apparently, though, they're going to be doing that. They're supposed to have like more information this coming week or next week of
Yeah.
what everything is. So
Huh. Pretty
Nice.
cool.
All right, and next one up is Starfruit Books. Let's see what this one is.
Is it Starfruit?
Yeah.
They're a smaller publisher.
yeah, they've been doing a lot of horror recently.
Yeah. They did the pig one, right?
Wait, no. You can't have horror without Junji Ito, apparently. So
So it says here, in a latest addition to our Blood Orange horror line, Netama Khan, a series of creepy yet also goofy stories about Netama, a very jealous teenager who believes that everything is someone else's fault.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm willing to give that a shot.
This looks
Oh
like
my
Is
goodness.
that guy got the bar through his head?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, or just
Possibly.
like it's trying to be translucent, but I get it.
It looks interesting. I mean, I gave PTSD a try. I didn't like it, and well, I would say it wasn't for me because I figured it'd be a lot scarier. And I read that thing in the dark, and PTSD just I was like, okay, it just shows this one picture over and over, and it's not really that scary.
I wish I was brave like that with horror manga.
I don't know. It was the first time I was doing it because the Uzumaki just messed me up. Like,
Yeah.
like that ending too just left me, I don't know, in a weird space for weeks.
I'm such a chicken when it comes to horror. I feel a little braver than I used to be, but I definitely need a bunch of lights on.
It's
Mhm.
like with Junji Ito, it could be really intriguing or it could be like, what?
Yeah.
Like Black Paradox was one of those. I just sat there and I was like, like no, just didn't do
Yeah.
it for me.
That's the only reason I didn't actually pick it up yet because y'all guys, none of y'all liked it. I was like, man, God, no one.
Oh no.
Then again, you
All right,
all
so
liked that one isekai, so
oh come on, not allowed in another world. Great.
I will be right back. I have to just do something.
Sure.
Be right
wait
back.
for
No
light
problem.
and fire.
So this is coming out in 2024, but it doesn't give exactly when. So
Uh-huh.
and he left the whole thing. Okay. So then the last one is a Kickstarter that Laura found.
Mm-hmm.
This one looks interesting. I gotta see what
Okay.
the.
Oh man, when I was looking at all the tiers that they're going to be doing. I was like, oh my goodness, it's already went live. Look at that.
How much did it get? 37. Whoa.
Yeah.
The deluxe
No.
editions of this.
The Godfather manga featuring 600 pages of content from top comic creators from around the world.
The
A deluxe
deluxe is
two-volume. What?
beautiful. So stunning. I was like, this is just something I want to buy just because it looks so cool. I was like, I don't
Who's
need it.
involved in it? Let me see here. All
Dang.
right, so
Good boy. Is it hardcover?
They have
Yes.
one where they're doing like only 200 sets of it, and that's it. It has like the red foil around it. It comes with like this really nice box set. I don't know. I'm assuming they will show the
there's
pictures.
two formats here. It says manga-sized paperback or premium oversized gallery edition hardcover.
Oh, nice.
All right, who's on this? Let's see here. We
Kylo.
have Ken Nomura, who does I Kill Giants. Joe Kelly, who does Deadpool X-Men. Juan Diaz Canales, who does Black Sad.
Mhm.
Kenny Ruiz, Team Phoenix, Belen Ortega, The Millennial Trilogy, Victor Santos, Polar. I think that's Matthew Bablet, who does Shangri-La.
Really?
JD Morvan.
Wait, Shangri-La Frontier? Is there another thing called Shangri-La?
I
There
was
might
wondering
be, I
that
don't know.
too.
That's what it doesn't specify, but these sound like these are Western comic books. A roster of
Yeah.
European talent. So I don't know if it's your Shangri-La.
No,
JD
I don't.
Morvan,
Victor
Naja,
Santos.
Big,
That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
yeah,
Sounds comic booky.
That dinosaur looks
David
really cool.
LaFuente, Ultimate Spider-Man, Petrard
I'm not looking at
Gagnon.
any of these.
Oh,
Or
it's
don't
Europe.
know.
It says the roster of European talent. So I'm assuming there's going to be
Yeah.
more.
See, like here, for example,
Uh,
this is Rena Lamar doing, and then Joe Kelly does Blackjack, Team Phoenix,
I like that one.
doing
That one looks
Astro
decent.
Boy. It's gonna be weird because like comic book style is so drastically different from manga style.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look bad, but
Yeah, you're gonna
some of
have to
them
hook
are
me with
really good.
something. Yeah, if you're gonna do something like this, I would want something smaller that I
This
didn't
is
have to
good.
invest into too much.
Yeah, I think like the lowest tier was like $50 or something when I looked the other day when they showed
That
pictures
sounds
of
about
it.
right for Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Princess Knight,
Oh,
Message to Adolf, Astro Boy.
this is
I don't
Adolf
know,
sounds
Astro Boy
familiar.
looks weird. The
yeah.
blackjack stuff looks good. It kind of
Yeah,
seems
that's
like a
not
fit
bad.
for that. What are the
Uh,
tiers? Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna wait and see on that one
Adventures.
because I'm not sold on that.
Here you go. Digital copy, $15.
Oh man. Oh, but it's
Here we
only
go.
volume.
25 for either a copy of one manga volume,
Okay,
600 pages.
there's a chance that this could wind up at half price books, so I'm gonna wait.
Copy of
No,
one hardcover is $40.
damn, because it looks good, but with the people listed on that, I don't know any of them, and some of the works I don't
Yeah,
like.
there's nobody there, and then you could do all of it for $49.
Mhm.
Volume 1 and 2 for the manga and digital. Or the hardcovers, volumes 1 and 2,
Mhm.
$79. Or you can go
Huh.
all the way up to all their really fancy
They
dance.
have
Oh,
like
you can
a
get a box set.
Shoot. What else I got?
Uh, retailer copies. These are
um
for like the comic
Hmm.
stores and all, which is normal with Kickstarters.
Huh.
that was different than what I thought it was when I shared it. I thought it was like more of a Japanese organized kind of thing
Mhm.
with different sort of like how they did Star Wars, where they had
Hmm.
different Japanese artists share sort of like fan art of Star Wars because oh gosh, she did the Frozen 2 manga. I think who did I don't
Who
know.
did who did the manga for that?
Yeah, well, whatever artist, creator, she also did artwork of Star Wars. She
Mhm.
did some kind of with Padme and Anakin. She did some kind of really pretty shoujo kind of art thing in there.
Huh.
But anyway, I say all that because
Oh,
that's what I thought this was. But that's pretty cool that I guess it's like more Western European inspired by.
again, I think it's a pass for me, and if it ends up at a half price books, I might actually check it out.
Yeah,
Oh
that's the
yeah,
thing with Kickstarters. It's they can be pricey.
They really
I
can. They really
I've seen
can.
Spider-Man Fake Red all over the place, but I haven't
haven't read it
really.
yet.
I remember I picked it up and it didn't look all that impressive. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I was trying to decide between that and Snick, but Snick is more done like in a comic book style
Hmm.
because it was actually released back in the early 2000s and like multiple like comic book issues.
Yeah, the last Spider-Man manga I read was from what was that? Where Spider-Man and Iron Man were in the same issue, and it was done by the mangaka for Yu-Gi-Oh before he passed.
Oh,
Yeah, loved the mangaka, but that I expected a lot more from it. It's basically a Yu-Gi-Oh version of Spider-Man and Iron Man.
you
There's a
should
lot of
check
ties
out
to it.
Jim from Weird Science, who's been on the show.
Mhm.
He just did a review of the Superman manga where he's like the food one
Did he really? Did he like it?
that Bianca was telling. I didn't get to finish watching it because my like internet went out, but he
Yeah.
sounded like it was like he's like, yeah, so we're Superman versus food here, and I was like, okay, I gotta like finish watching this when the internet comes back up. So I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if he liked it or didn't like it, but I have to finish watching it. So
What? So it's a manga? I've never heard of a Superman manga, especially a
It
foodie
yeah,
is.
one.
Bianca had told us about it in the chat one time.
It's on Amazon. It's going to be 3 volumes long. And it's almost like I just want to get it because there's like Batman is on the back of Superman. Superman's flying, and Batman's got some kind of Japanese food that he's holding and eating. And the final volume, I think, has like almost like the entirety of the Justice League, and they're all eating Japanese food.
Mhm.
Omega, yes, I've heard of Batman Child of Dreams, but I have not read it. That's the one where Batman turns into a baby and Joker has to raise him
That's an interesting premise.
That
because
is.
he doesn't exist without Batman, so he needs Batman.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that upbringing would be interesting. Because he would
Yeah,
he
but
would
he
have
turned
he
out
would
to
have
be
to
the
make sure
vigilante hero that he wanted.
he would have to make sure that he imprinted righteousness onto him if he wanted him to be Batman. So
Yeah,
so again,
that's what's weird.
yeah. But
I hope
was there
Marge
any
is okay.
I hope
yeah.
so too.
Was there any other releases or anything?
Dark Horse had
Um,
something, but I think I shared the link, but I don't remember what it was because I didn't click the article.
Mm.
I just grabbed the link. And I don't know if it was something that they said at the San Diego Comic-Con or not.
Well,
So
if
I
anything,
don't
we
know.
can jump into that top 5.
not to go off topic, but I thought it was really interesting when they were interviewing Dark Horse and they were talking about like manga is what 1% of their sales,
1%.
but 66% of their profit, was it?
No. It's 1% of their the stuff that they publish on is like 1%, and their sales
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
way larger than
Yeah,
that.
that was pretty
I
wild.
was like, you're doing more, almost more than like you're doing better with manga than your comics because they do like what
They don't say.
Hellboy and some of the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is.
They still have some good stuff, but just people are turned off from it.
Well, I don't think they've had the problem the other two have had, but the problem is I don't think they're very niche with their type of comic books because yeah, like Hellboy is not going to appeal to a whole wide range of people
Yeah.
except for with the movies, and then you've got other stuff like I think Ice Cream Man is on there. I could be wrong, which is a horror thing. This is the one, but this is like volume 4. Complete this life with the entire Imanu volume collection,
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one?
including volume 4.
Face down.
That's what they have here is a recent announcement.
I know Mommy Weave really likes that series, and she's been waiting for volume 4 for a good hot minute.
So you can get it all in one collective. It comes out September 6, 2023.
I don't know. I look at that. That doesn't look interesting to me at all.
Anon is strange even for a mortal. A person with a mind over 3 billion years old. Her consciousness endlessly migrates from new body to new body over the entire history of life evolution on Earth.
They did announce, it says exclusive Dark Horse license, a really long title. Chiaki Nanami's Goodbye Despair Quest manga.
I can see that one.
Nope. No clue.
It's a super long title. I'm
it's a paragraph.
That's what it felt, but it's all one word. I was like, I'm not attempting this.
Oh, this one.
Danganronpa?
Whoa.
Yes, that one right there.
Whoa. This game. Yay. I hate the ending, but it has redeemed qualities, I guess. If you like death games, this is your thing.
Mm.
I wonder
Essentially,
if Elite likes this.
he might. The visual novel games are very popular. They have a very cult following. I don't know how the mangas are. I watched the anime for the original game. It was
Yeah.
alright. It did what it needed to do, but I'd say go the visual novel route, even though it can be painstakingly long because they drag a bit. But I don't know about the mangas. This is either a spoiler or it's a side quest because I know what happens, and just the title alone raises eyebrows.
Mhm.
Not gonna spoil for people in case they are interested in playing the game, but it's interesting to see that this is the title and it's just not. I don't know if they adapted the second game into a manga yet, but I know the
Yeah.
first one. I know the first one is.
Mm.
But yeah, that's interesting because it's
Mega's asking, did anybody watch Twin Tales?
What is that?
yeah. I was gonna say what's Twin Tales?
Mega, what is that?
Yeah,
Okay, so this is
probably
like
not.
Dark Horse has a couple. I'm surprised for the money they're making for that small amount of output. You would think they would license more and try to like
Yeah.
start
Oh yeah,
pumping
no.
out more manga.
Out of all publishers, they have I think they have the smallest library at the moment.
Yeah.
But
So
But
besides big
we were
ones.
talking about when they were at San Diego Comic Con, they were talking
Okay.
about
Yeah,
they
you can
everybody
have
check.
thought,
what was it? They produce
yeah.
1%,
Yeah,
but their profit is like 60 something percent on manga, and I'm like,
Yeah.
because they do get quality series. That's the thing. Like
yeah,
even though they
they're
are very short on like licenses, the things they do get are like they're proven to be like good or have like a good following of
Mhm.
like
people who are like
innocent
diehard
that's coming
fans.
out.
Like everyone loves Berserk, everyone loves Mob Psycho, everyone loves Gantz. There's Oku has a big following, so that's why Gigant did really big. Like they know they know how to pick. That's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
The
hopefully, like
Trigun, I can't wait for that.
yeah, Trigun Deluxe is coming soon. Like you kind of just hope at this point they just get more things and then they're quality. I mentioned so many times before they should focus on like older series like
Mhm.
that were forgotten but like have a really big following and just like they're not available English like for a while. I'm blanking on titles right now, but like they can go
Yeah.
and get stuff from like the 90s and like early 2000s and
Samurai Champloo or
yeah, it'd be like yeah, that works. Like it makes sense that they have
Hmm.
it.
All right. So
Alright.
I think Morg is
That was-
gone for the night. So if
Yeah,
with that,
Mark, I hope you're okay. I
Hopefully you're
hope
fine,
there
Mark.
wasn't anything.
so do we want to get into E5?
Yes, we do. I know Asiamer wasn't here for what we're doing for our top five is chapters that gripped you, like hooked you immediately onto the series.
Mm-hmm.
I can come up with some things.
All right. Now
There are two that
me,
stand out right now. There are two that stand out right now.
yeah. For
Okay.
me, I basically went like first chapters of series that hooked you, and I say that just because it's not really a spoiler if you're talking about the stuff that happened in the first chapter.
Hmm.
So
All right.
that
So, who wants to go first? Laura, do you want to start?
Okay, yeah, I can. These are in no certain order. I had to do this one because Carrie, I want to convince you to read it, and that's Centric Doctor of the Moonflower
I
Kingdom.
did read it.
If you like the Apothecary Diaries, strong chances are you will like this one. The thing that stands out that hooked me on the first chapter is Kyoyo, our main girl, right here. She is obsessed with muscles, and she has a patient come in. This guy, he is the prince. He is being chased after. His right-hand man has been injured. They come to the medical place in this village, and she's like, I'm the doctor. She's not really. It's actually her dad. But she's like, I'm the doctor, and I'll perform surgery on you. And he takes off his shirt, and she's like, look at those muscles. And that is all
I
she
know, that was
is
funny.
like obsessed with. She starts drooling. And I mean, she mans up, so to speak, and she does perform surgery, but just her love for muscles hooked me on this. Somebody called her a pervert. I'm like, I don't really think she's a pervert, but her
She's a
love for
catch.
it really is. And I mean that her love for muscles influences her to make some life-changing decisions later on in the volume. And I love her for it. She even tells them because they're like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, he's got this huge gash on his arm and he's bleeding. And she's like, well, if you have a tear in your clothes, what do you do? And they're like, well, duh, you just throw it out. And she's like, oh, you spoiled rich boys. And she's like, she pulls out a needle with thread. She's like, you sew it up. And they both like just sort of like have that,
Turn white.
yeah. So
Wow.
I love the humor in the first chapter, and Kyoyo is just a very fun heroine. And so that
Yeah.
has become in my top 10 favorite series this year. Like I love it so much. The humor never lets up. Her love for muscles never lets up. And I have so many high expectations for the series. So just had to put that one in there, Carrie, just for you.
All right, Bo, what do you have?
All right, so I'm gonna start off with Homunculus.
Homunculus.
Now, this one has a mixed reaction to it. Some people love it, some people hate it, and there's a lot of people like me that are in between.
I still
I'm
need to
giving
get
it.
that.
I'm giving it another volume. I have to look, make sure it's appropriate to show, but the art really great.
Mhm.
I don't know
so
why I didn't think of sharing art of mine.
it is a very fast read because, again, a lot of illustrations, really done. A lot of detail went into this. The story very gripping. You have a gentleman who's homeless and who's basically living in his car and a part of like the homeless community, and he is he's still wearing his suit. I guess he was formerly laid off. That's kind of what the feel you get from him, and he's just kind of living off of what he has left. And things get kind of tight, and he runs into a guy who offers him money to perform surgeries on him. And he talks him into doing a real quick surgery in his head. that
Wait, pause.
uh,
The main characters getting the surgeries?
yeah, the main
Yes.
character is getting a surgery from a mysterious man he just met. He's doing it because of his desperation, need for money. Again, chapter 1.
Oh, wow. I had to make sure that it wasn't like the doctor or something. So, oh my goodness.
All right. So after the surgery is done, it's supposed to open up some kind of latent ability. I think everybody's different, but what he begins to experience is beginning to see different things. Whenever he sees people, there might be one person that's completely normal, then another will look like, I don't know, look like a snake person or look like they're glass. And these are things that are known as homunculus. And it kind of goes into why he sees people like this. And it's kind of like ESP. He's sensing things about this person, about certain people, and whatever he's vibing off them, he kind of perceives it. Whatever he sees them as is kind of there's a relation to that and what they're going through. So it's kind of like him kind of solving these issues with people. So it's really good. But one of the main characters does a really dicey things or states a really dicey thing that he wants to do that is kind of a red flag for me. And depending on what happens in the next volume, I might drop it. But really great writing, great story arcs. Not story arcs, but the way the characters are written. And again, can't talk enough about the artwork. So really good. Highly
Interesting.
recommend it.
That
Highly recommend
also-
it for now.
That also has a live action on Netflix.
Does.
Yeah, that I've heard is actually really good. Heard it's actually
That's
really
good.
good. So I have to check it out. I want to get the first volume first
Mhm.
and read that.
Yeah.
But if anything, like if I don't like it, it's on my watch list on Netflix. And because I've heard really good things about the series by everyone who's read the series. Most people, like initially before it got like announced and everything, like anyone who has read that will tell you that's like their top 5. Highway, bro. And yeah, they
Yes.
just they just love it. And so it was very shocking to see the mixed reaction because it's like, yeah, it was so well adored, and everyone who like picked it up was like, it's okay. It's like I don't like it, but hopefully like it's a case where it's later on, it's like getting to the good parts. But yeah, it's also very pricey. So that's like that and Don't Call It Mystery were the two big ones that came out recently. Where I'm like, you guys are very expensive, but yeah, I just have to wait for a sale. Thankfully, I got Don't Call It Mystery coming soon from the birthday sale because that was an option.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that because I've heard really good things about that as well.
Yeah, that was good. All right, what do you have up, Ian? Are you ready?
All right. So Bo, I know Bo was like, oh, like mainly chapter ones. I thought of 5. It took me like a couple minutes. Thought of 5. Only one of them is a chapter 1, so I'll start with that one. I won't spoil the other ones, but like if you know, you know. I'll go into I'll go into like minor detail, but I won't spoil things. But like obviously, and then essentially, besides one, I guess I can recommend all these because I did enjoy them. The chapter 1 in question it's on my screen. It's my favorite manga series of all time. It's the first chapter to The Promised Neverland. If you want a plot twist and you want it ASAP, that'll make you change your whole perspective on like a show or manga when you see it, read this. Once you get to like, I think it's halfway into the first chapter, you see what it is, and you instantly are like, oh, okay. Because there are I know in the anime it's a lot more obvious when you watch the first episode, but in the manga, it's like the undertones of what's happening are very, very, very small. Like the only thing is like, oh, they do tests. That's kind of weird. Like that's the only thing you get from the manga. The anime does a better job because like it has the music and everything. Like you can tell, but with the manga, it hits you out of nowhere. So when it does, it gets you, and then basically at the end they're like, yep, this is basically just 4D chess. We have to figure out how to get out of the situation. And so it entices you to read the entire thing. Whenever someone right now, I think at this moment, whenever someone asks me, hey, like what's a good short series that I can watch that you'd recommend, this is usually like top 3. It's this what's that name, Death Parade. Like if you want a good 12 episoder, these are good. We don't talk about season 2 because that doesn't exist.
I was just about to ask.
We don't know, that does not exist.
Yeah.
In the question that everyone asks, what's the series you want the Brotherhood treatment to get? It is always just changed to this. At first it was Tokyo Ghoul because I actually did enjoy the things they skipped. But as soon as season 2 came out, I was like, oh no, hands down, this is the thing that needs the reboot immediately. Yeah. All the things that are lost in it, like it's my favorite manga. I dropped season 2 on episode 4, I think.
Ooh.
Wow, that's pretty far. My friend's a huge fan of the manga. Absolutely loves and adore it. But yeah,
I love it.
I think like she didn't make it past episode 2 or 3. She was so angry of how different everything was. How yeah.
A lot of people initially got the change from season 2 at episode 3 because there's a character that they just completely skip out, which opens up the rest of the world. That's a lot of people's like the moment where they're like, oh, everything's going to be different now.
I think that must have been where it was
supposed to. This character is supposed to lead to everything else in this next area, but it never shows up. And then the line that occurs when they initially meet the character in the anime, it's a blank room, and then the line that one of the kids says, oh, I feel like someone should have been here. And it's like, you've changed everything. Yeah. But if you're very smart at it, and like since it's my favorite, I noticed very early on, episode 2, they explain the relationship between the two species of the world. In the manga, they give you like flashbacks and portraits of like the very beginning of everything. In the anime, it's just a conversation, and it's very stagnant. I'm like, oh, this is completely different. So that's when I knew it. And then episode 3, I was like, oh, great, that one person didn't show up. And episode 4, a certain character who's not supposed to show up till like towards the end of the series shows up, and they look exactly the same from something. And then as soon as I saw that character, I was like, you're not supposed to be here. And then that's immediately when I dropped it. I was like, I can't do any more of this.
Yeah.
There's a big plot. There's like a big plot point or plot twist that happens to one of the main characters in the first season or the first arc. And then they talk about it later, a lot later, when everyone has grown and it comes back again. it basically just rushes it, and that situation's there on episode 4, and it kills everything, and it's
Yeah.
very annoying. And so yeah, get the manga out. Box set is coming soon. I probably will, depending if the box sets are Italian prints,
They're not.
they are Italian print.
I don't
Then
think they are.
if they're not, I will buy the box set and I will just switch out my volumes and just sell the set because I want to keep my original volumes. This was the series that got me into collecting because I would buy it as soon as it came out. That's how much I enjoyed it.
The 15% off on Right Stuff, I was able to get the price down all the way to 116. I was like, yes, got it.
Perfect.
That's good.
It's a good series. It's a good series where we can read in arcs, and it's like, oh, and the cliffhangers will immediately get you to keep on going, and it's so
Nice.
good. And it's good development. It's very good development. It gets to a point in the manga where like you notice like, oh, everyone is taller. What the fuck?
Cool.
And then it's like, oh, and then they acknowledge it like, oh, we're so much taller now. And I'm like, oh, that's because you've developed so much time throughout this series just to grow these kids. And then season 2 is like, no, we're gonna take that all away from you because we want money, and this series is already over, so we just want to finish it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but very much recommend the first chapter of The Promised Neverland. Either read it on the Shonen Jump app, or wait for the box set, or if you want to pick it up now, or even watch the anime. That's how good that first chapter is. I believe in like the past 10 years, the first arc to this is probably the best arc you can ever get in a big series. The first arc can cook you easily, and the first chapter does a good job at that to set the pace of what's to come. And so yeah, I always recommend that series. It's my favorite for a reason.
Cool.
Nice, thank you. All right, before we get to mine, I want to remind everybody there in the chat, do not forget to like, share, subscribe. Even if you're rewatching that, please hit that like button and hit the notification bell so you know when I have a new video or a new live stream every Tuesday. So mine is something Bo recommended to me and told me that I needed to read that I was going to love. And I have to tell you, this first chapter just literally gets you really interested in the plot of this, and that would be the Monster Guild, the Dark Lord's No Good Comeback. And it pretty much focuses on this Dark Lord who, in the beginning of the series, looks like this big, ginormous badass, and he gets taken out by the hero. But he is able to regenerate himself. But unfortunately, something goes wrong, and he doesn't come back the way he was expecting to come back. And when he takes a look at himself, he realizes he's nothing more but this, like, little dude. He even gets his butt kicked by, slime.
Oh, it's funny.
And he's just mad. He wants to regain his original magical ability and his original form so he can get back to what he's doing. And then it leads into him adventuring to connect with other people, like orcs and dark elves, try to achieve this, and it's hilarious because it's interactions. It's a good series. I have to get the rest of the volumes, but though this was a really good recommendation, and I'm glad you told me about it.
Oh, appreciate it. I really love it. It starts off pretty funny, and then it surprises you with the following
Yes.
what's called volumes. It gets a little bit more serious, and I would say it reminds me of a more violent version of Fryren at times.
Yes.
So really,
and it's kind of funny because like nobody knows that who he's interacting with is that he was the Dark Lord, because some of these people kind of had to work for him during the war, and so he's just kind of standing there like, oh wow, so you had a really bad experience with the Dark Lord, huh? He's like, so yeah, that's terrible. Oh, yeah, maybe he meant well.
And that's pretty cool to see, like the Dark Lord actually seeing the repercussions of what he's done. And,
Yes.
And you don't really get that perspective at all in any of these. Dark Lord is just some cookie cutter villain they drop in, and this time you get to see his perspective on all that.
It is, yeah, I recommend it. I'm definitely going to get the rest of the volumes. It's just, it's a good combination of humor and, like Bo was saying, you have these moments where you just realize, like, maybe I was too much of a bad guy and I was bringing bad on the ones I didn't really want to bring the bad on, and he finds himself doing some things that are helpful, very out of character. So I do recommend it. Laura, what do you have up next?
I decided to go with Beast of Abigail. I don't know why, I just kept seeing this on my shelf, and I was like, I'm not a huge paranormal kind of reader, even if there's romance, but I really like the main girl, Nina. She's trying to look for a fresh start, comes to like this very luxurious island that her uncle lives at, and she's like, yes, I'm going to be living in freedom, so to speak. Because some things had happened at her old school, but there's like a legend that there's werewolves, and she's super into it. And her uncle's like, that's not real, right? And she's like, yeah, but she's like, there's photo footage, but it looks super cheesy and not legit. But when she happens to go out on a walk by herself, she ends up like coming across this rose garden because there's roses everywhere. She gets her finger pricked. And then when she's just sort of after that, she's just casually walking on the bridge. This guy who looks like a convict runs up. She decides to jump him to help the police. This sounds so outlandish. But the thing is when he had like a hood on, she realizes that maybe werewolves are actually real because she gets bit by one. I'm trying to show the picture. There, of course, there's not a good picture, but he looks sort of like this. And so she, because of that rose, she actually turns into a similar creature like he is. They're called Lugas. And so now she's in this confinement place, and she's like, I'm a human. And they're like, no, you are half werewolf, basically, and you're not escaping this prison-like place. And so that's where it sort of ended. So it was interesting seeing, I guess, her in this circumstance, all because of this stupid dog, supposedly, because he attacked her and she got bit, pricked her finger, and all of it's leading to this sort of like really cool place. I mean, it looks cool, but it's actually really dangerous. So I was just really intrigued by that. I'm not a big paranormal fan.
Mm-hmm.
I had to choose between werewolves and vampires. Team werewolves. I love this scene. This is definitely a scene where Nina's attacking the guy and trying to take him out. I was like, she's so cool. So I thought that was a really interesting, engaging chapter where she's like, yes, new start, but it wasn't the new start that she was anticipating at all. So, and how she's now going to get out of the situation that she's in.
Yeah. Huh.
Concept is very interesting.
Yeah. It's a really fun series that surprisingly has some heart to it. It's just a bummer. Like, that's one of the series I've read where the manga creator shared that she was very rushed to finish it quickly. And so you have this ending and then a time skip, and then it sort of just ends. And the creator said that she even cried that she couldn't extend the series further like she had originally planned. I was like, I'm so sad for you, creator, because it was getting even better as it goes on, but then it's sort of like an open-ended ending. Not bad, but just I definitely wanted more as well. So.
Okay. Oh shoot. Well,
what do you have up, Bo?
I got a recommendation from Prom. He said to check this one out, Brides, and I actually kind of really liked it. So I'm gonna get more. But the thing is, these things are kind of pricey, especially for the amount that you get. This is a nice slice of life if you haven't already read it. It takes place around the times where I don't know. There's not. It's an older time period. You got different villages that basically send their children to other villages to kind of, I guess, in exchange for crops or whatever, and basically to help repopulate the villages and stuff like that. And this girl is kind of she's older. She's a lot older for the ideal age of somebody being sent to another village. She's about 20, and the person she's married to is about 8 years younger. That was kind of I didn't like that, but then again, for that time period, I was like, I guess. So I pushed past that. This girl is very capable about ranching and a bunch of other things. So she brings a lot to the village with the skills that she possesses, and she's very understanding, and she takes care of her husband. She's very nice. I would say there's only one scene in here that I'm not gonna show it to you that gets a little racy, but it's only like a visual and like nothing really happens. But it is wholesome for the most part. Again, the art is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Can I show you that? Well written, and there is a little bit of there is an issue that pops up at the end of volume 1, and it makes it really interesting because the village that sent her to this village in need, they absolutely adore her and appreciate her because she's almost saved them pretty much from them from some of the things that they're running into, and she's actually teaching a lot of them how to use bow and arrow. But at the end, you find out that the village that sent her is actually wanting her back so they can trade her to someone else that they're wanting to do business with. And so I was like, oh, so they're going to come and try to take her back. So that's interesting. But a really good read. I liked it.
Nice. Okay, Adrian, what do you have up next?
All right. This was big, I guess, like a couple months ago. Interesting to see what people think about it. But it is the final chapter to the first volume of Oshinoko. I will completely tell you, when I initially read this, I was getting bored. I was like, it's okay. I was like, there's these weird things in the beginning where they're just being interviewed. I'm like, that's weird. Like, okay, I guess they're doing a documentary. Like, they're doing too many elements. And then the final chapter of this thing happens. And I go, oh, that's interesting and crazy. And now it's sad. And now why? And so basically, if you've never read this, without spoiling too much, treat this as the prologue. I've heard treat this single volume as the prologue to the story because it's going to be completely different from what I've heard. Volume 2 coming on the way, so I'll be reading this. I think the first episode of the anime is just the first volume.
Yes.
From what I've been told, it's just the first volume. So if you want a litmus test, watch that hour-long thing. And I've heard it's beautifully animated and everything. So I have no worries recommending that. But
watch the whole thing because the beginning can put somebody off.
It's very yes. I will say like all the things at the beginning are like the way the doctor feels about her is like, okay, that's kind of weird, dude.
Kind of sus.
And then you only feel this way because of a patient from back then. That's okay.
Yeah.
And then it gets weird. And then the first plot twist that happens, it's like, oh, okay. Oh, that's kind of weird. Okay. Why is this a thing? Oh,
that's definitely like the weirdest scene I've ever read in a manga.
I was like, oh, and they're twins, and it's like it's obvious what happens, and it's like, okay, when do they address it? I don't know if they have ever addressed it later on, but yeah. And so I'm like, okay, where is this going? Like, they're getting a bit older. I'm like, it's moving kind of fast. Like, what's going on? There are some topics that are talked in here that are really nice to learn about, like the way idols are treated, how they're looked at. Child actors is also like there's a chapter dedicated to child actors and like how messed up and cruel the world of child actors can be, which I get it. And I feel like that's come a lot more to light now with like child actors, like from things we've watched in the past coming up and be like, this is what happens back in like
gives you the dark history behind the entertainment industry.
Actors, like it's very dark, and it's like yikes, like you are exploited very much so. And so I'm like, all right, there's these interesting plot points, but like overall, like how do we get back to full circle? I don't really get it. And it doesn't really, but it opens up a new gateway where it's like, okay, I'm interested to see what happens next. And so like when that first volume came out, I was like, all right, I'll grab this up, read it. I was like, wasn't feeling it, and then as soon as I got to it, I was like, oh, and it makes you rethink the entire volume again because things will make sense. Things you read that were like, oh, why is this a thing? When it hits you, it's like, oh, this is
actually all right.
It's actually all right. And so I'm excited to read more of it. Maybe I'll watch the anime. I don't know how far that went into the series, but I think I will keep doing this. Also, artist of Kaguya-sama, so good art. So Yes, I don't know about that, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I
But the
don't
thing, we
don't
still
know
don't know if
anything
those
about
are.
that.
Yeah, we still don't know if those leaks can be trusted. But
Yeah, I don't know anything
it's
about that.
Oh boy.
it's flooded with stuff like that. So I'm
Yeah,
like, I hope not. God, please. It's so good
because
right now, and
if that happens, then it's
yeah,
instantly a drop. Yeah,
yeah.
it's instantly a drop because it's like no, because
Like,
there's
no,
only
thanks.
one brother sister that's introduced in this first volume. So if it's them, it's weird, and then with the plot twist behind them, it's even super weird. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
not
really
nothing
hope that
confirmed
isn't
yet,
true.
but
So yikes. But yeah,
gosh,
that's my second one.
yeah.
All right. My next one, this is a volume. I picked up the first two volumes from Baz. Shout out to Baz. And at first I thought this was just going to be like very generic, but it is Tokyo Aliens. And I love like this first chapter. You have two different things happening at the same time. You have this ordinary high school kid named Akira. He's in the manga shop shopping. He's getting ready to head to the train station. Meanwhile, there's this other guy hunting down this girl, and it completely turns out that she's an alien, and he's trying to capture her. And it concludes with like the guy who's hunting the alien. He gets her, and he ends up walking on the train, and he sees Akira. Uh, and when he's looking at him, he suddenly walks up to him and makes him feel very uncomfortable by saying
Oh my
something
god.
like, like, how are you alive? And like Akira's like, excuse me, who are you and what the heck are you talking about? Can you back up like about 5 feet?
Yeah.
You're making me uncomfortable here.
A wall
And
slam is coming.
yeah, so then later on, he finds out this Kira finds out this kid is at his school, and he's like Mr. Popular, but he doesn't care about any of the girls. There's also this interesting twist because the plot of the story is an alien and a human team up, but it's not who you think it is.
Alien human buddy cop.
Yeah. So, like, Akira ends up being in the wrong place at the wrong time and ends up joining the organization and finding out that his deceased father, who was a cop, was actually working for this organization to hunt down rogue aliens. It's kind of like this whole immigration system. Like, aliens can come here, but then some of them might just have a visa for visitation, and then if they
Hmm.
exceed that, they have to get hunted down and sent back, or if they're violent, they need to be taken down. It's actually good. I haven't read two yet, but
Hmm. Oh shoot.
yeah, I know. I think it was meant to look sus because like the guy was just so surprised to see Akira because apparently Akira looks like somebody he knew that died, and Akira's just like, "Whoa, hello,
Uh,
no."
I think she's talking about
Yeah.
her other comment. She's saying,
Oh,
I said about Oshinoko. She I
oh,
said
and
I
the
hear,
Oshinoka.
but I've seen some panels, and yeah, like there
Oh,
are
okay.
some.
Sorry.
We don't know
So
what
you're
to
talking
believe
about what I
because
was talking about.
there's some fake panels, or we don't know if they're real panels online that really don't show. There's some pretty wild stuff. I'm like, no, I hope this isn't real.
Yeah,
I
but
really
so far
love
this is
the
good.
main character in that one, Tokyo Aliens. I really liked him a lot. I found him really relatable.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
just
the
like
covers. The covers stand out a
like
lot.
wait a
Yeah.
minute, aliens? What are you talking about? Aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah, the color choices they use like really stand out. Like whenever
They
you're
do.
like a Barnes or anything, like those really stick to you because the way
Mhm.
they're patterned and everything.
Very eye-catching.
Yes, exactly.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
And
So this
and the other guy can't communicate, so everything he says Akira takes the wrong way. Like he says, I'm going to have to take you with me to the office to be taken care of, and Akira's just like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. He's taking
Yeah.
me there to
I'm
die.
getting probed.
And he goes, why would you think I was going to kill you? He's like, do you listen to how you word things?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's Drax. Yes.
Nice. Oh
But yeah.
wow.
All right, Laura, what's your next one?
Um so this isn't an isekai, but it sounds like one, and that's I Want to Be a Receptionist in This Magical World. It just came out this week. It is so good. But it's interesting because it has a prologue, and I wanted to feature this one because, like, have you ever had that moment when you were a kid, you had one adult in your life that just stepped in your life, whether it was a teacher, somebody in your family, and they just inspire you like for the rest of your life, or at least for like many, many years?
Yeah.
Like, has anybody had that happen?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's basically what happens in the beginning with the main girl right here, where she goes with her father and she sees this receptionist and how she's affecting basically the city at large by helping these people get jobs, like I'm blanking on their names, but just the workers, we'll just say. And that's what she's like, I want to be just like her when I grow up. And that dream carries her into the present of what she looks like now. And I don't know, I feel like just for the artist and the creator to really stir up that kind of feeling where it was like an instant flashback for me of like, yeah, I know when I had an adult, a teacher that just was really there for me. And I was like, I want to be a teacher because of that person. And so I really just like the feelings that were portrayed because it was in the prologue. The first chapter is really, really good too. But I don't know, I just wanted to feature that because it's not like a super fast beginning. I mean, she's just looking, I guess, like the royal capital is a floating island. And so she looks up at it every single day and she's like, I want to use magic just like the people in my neighborhood, but I don't have any. And then that's when she meets the receptionist with her father. And she's like, I want to go to the magical academy that's on that floating island and pursue my dream. And that's pretty much the whole volume, though. Like, this has one of the best enemies to lovers I've read in a really long time, where like the enemies don't genuinely like hate each other's guts. Like, I don't understand that kind of trope for the enemies to lovers. Like, how can you genuinely hate this person but you're like, I'm gonna angrily love you? Like, that's just not love in my opinion for me. So I can't get attached to that. But they are just super competitive in everything, all things, all day. And she's like, for her dream, I'm gonna be number one. But the guy's always beating her and she's always coming in at number two. So that was just why I love this one. Maybe it's like not as exciting as the others, but I just thought it really cool to be able to capture that. I also really related to that relatability of I can tell I'm tired. I related to the relatability. I related to the main girl and that how competitive she is and hates losing, because there was a guy in middle school. I hated losing to that guy, and I always would get second place, and it irked me to no end.
There's always that one person.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I got a 99. I got 100.
Yeah. So I felt like there was a lot of personal relatability in this for me, and just that, like, so those feelings that were created at the beginning.
Cool.
So.
All right. In one of my manga streams, somebody recommended this to me, and they said it was like Law and Order. I really love this.
I need that so bad.
Higami, the Ultimate. Chapter 1 hooked me on this. The whole story, the whole premise behind this is it's a dystopian world. Everybody when they're in elementary are injected with a capsule. Now, about I would say 1%, 1 out of 1,000. There's a 1 in 1,000 chance that this capsule will have something that will kill you, and you won't know if it's lethal or not until the age of 24, because they will detonate that, or that pill will dissolve or whatever between when you get it and the age of 24. So
okay.
You don't, and nobody knows, and it's a very intricate system in the government to where nobody has any idea who's going to get what. Yeah, basically. And you have the story of a gentleman who is actually giving out what is called an ikigami. It shows who it is and what time they're going to die. You get 24 hours notice that, hey, you are going to die in 24 hours. And it gives you it gives you so many different stories of different people, what they do on their final 24 hours. In chapter 1, you get the person that was bullied all their life, told after going through all the stuff that he's gone through. He's now has 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I will just say this guy has a list of people that he targets, and that one was like, wow. It wasn't really off-putting. It was more intriguing how everything happened after that. And every chapter in here is a new story, but follows up with this guy, our main character, having to deliver these ikogamis to everybody. And Rob, no, sorry, my dad needs to talk, and I were talking about this one online. I got him to finally read this one, and he's loving it. He's way past me now. I can't even find chapter 3, or sorry, volume 3 or 4. But he's gone way far ahead of me. And there's some stories on here that are really heartbreaking, but not heartbreaking enough where it puts me off. It's just I want to read more. But yeah, definitely, if you want great stories that are intense and really well written, check this out.
I literally thought of Rob. He was the very first person I thought of when you shared that, because were you watching it too when he was watching the anime about the father? He finds out that like his daughter was like dating a yakuza.
My Home Hero.
Yes, that's what that manga reminded me at first, and so
it looks very similar. I've only seen the first episode of that, but it looks very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, My Home Hero hooked me on that first episode.
Yeah.
So Elite says it sounds interesting, and he's heard of it, but I convinced him. Yes.
Yeah, no, I heard about that series a long time ago. I've never been able to find volume 1 because it was out of stock as soon as I found out about it.
Yeah, I know it completely blew me away.
I need to get back into it. Hopefully I can find it soon, but I really want to get into that because the synopsis is really interesting. It's like, I want to know these stories.
You want something different? This is it. Like you've had it with Isekai and everything else that they keep on doing over and over. Something completely different here. I loved it.
All right, Asian you're up next.
All right. So the next 2 series I will talk about, there are 2 distinctive chapters that gripped me. So it's like, it's a double whammy. So the first one is digital only, but I'm pretty sure by the time the end of the year is wrapped up, the physical will be announced. Me and Bo read the first chapter on a live stream. He should know exactly what this is.
Yeah.
And it's let me just brightness. We love brightness. It is the Ichinose family's deadly sin. So there are two chapters that hooked me, and I explained it to Bo as well.
Is it on the Shonen Jump app?
Yeah, it's on the Shonen Jump app. It's my favorite read. It's my favorite read on the Shonen Jump app right now. So essentially what happens is that an entire family has been dealt a case of amnesia. They were in a bad car crash, and everyone wakes up. They don't remember anything at all. That is the first chapter. Without giving spoilers, that is the first chapter. That's it. And they try to rekindle or try their hardest to get their memories back. And then there's a plot twist at the end of chapter 1 where they go back home and they realize, there's a lot more to us, because they go into their rooms and then it reveals more about themselves. And so everyone is literally shocked of what they saw in their own rooms. You only get to see the main characters at that time, but they see their rooms and they're like, it's completely the opposite of what we've been doing this entire time. Because like they're all friendly with each other, and like, remember, like the main thing in the first chapter is like, let's make up fake holidays that we've been to, just to like see if anything sticks, and then we can remember anything. And so like they all fantasize about going to like the beach and stuff, and it's like, it's very cute, it's very nice. It's like, okay, like they obviously want to get back on track, and then that stumps them. And so it's crazy, and immediately they're like, so like what did everyone see in their room? And then they're like, we don't want to talk about it. And so the first chapter, very gripping, very, very nice. And then you start reading. Basically, you got to know more about each family member as the series goes on. And so, like, depending on how like you take it, it could peter out for you. You could still enjoy it if you like it or not. And then the first colored page, which is I think is chapter 10, is the sticking point where I was like, all right, this has me in a chokehold. They explain what the car crash was and what happened, and it's very shocking. And then essentially you get to see why they were in a car crash. And then the plot twist in that chapter alone was like, okay, And then
Nice.
I had stopped reading it for a while. I think I saw like a chapter 20 something. I was like, all right, let me pick this back up. I have free time. 3 chapters in, I was like, oh my god, I want to cry because it's so good. But yeah, the creators Shonen Jump Plus work, Takopi's Original Sin, that's coming out later this year. It's basically that giant face where tears running down a kid's face. Like it's very distinctive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's his Jump Plus thing where it was like it's short. It's like 3 volumes, so like that'll be a short series. But people really like this stuff. So Shueisha was like, get on the weekly, come up with something. And so far, I don't know how the rankings are, but so far it's still going on. It's going on strong.
Yeah.
I hope it does because it's very different. It's like that and Blue Box are currently like they're not action shonens. They're like shonens, but like they're very different. Blue Box is romance. This one is more of a psychological mystery type thing. And so yeah, and then I always advise read the first chapter, and then when you have time, binge read because every chapter has a cliffhanger that is very interesting. And like,
don't read it before bed.
Don't read it before bed. Don't read it.
I learned that the hard way.
Yes, don't read it before bed because there are things that will shock you where you're like, why are they doing that? Why are they what? That's a crime. What is going on? I need more, and then you will want to read more, and then you'll get into a whole hole. There are a lot of plot twists. I think where I stopped there was like it hit its 4th plot twist because it just keeps on going, and it's a story where like when me and Bo read it, he pretty much nailed it on the head. He feels like you can end this at any time and it'd be okay, but you read it and you're like, I want more of this, but it can end at literally any time and you'd be happy with it because you have faith that it'll end really good. But yeah,
it can get really slice of lifey and also very mysterious and thrilling, and it's just a good balance between everything. Like, man, that's so interesting. Okay, what's going on here? And you don't know. For me, where I'm at, it's like I don't know who I can trust. I mean, is everybody genuine?
Yeah. It gets you to think like who's in the right here? Yeah. What is going on? And then there are very sad things that happen in this manga. There are One Piece level backstories that are in this. Like the mom backstory is like that's when I read recently where it's like, oh, you are I feel so sorry for you, but at the same time, yikes. And then when you get into like the it's like its 3rd plot twist, it's like, oh my goodness, what? And then you see what happens during that plot twist, and it's like, oh, I want to cry for you because like you guys are hopeless, and it's like, oh, it's so good. But yeah, I recommend it. Shonen Jump app or Goodbye Anime NYC. I'm 100% confident they'll be like physicals coming middle of next year, and yeah, it's really good. If you have time for it, literally read it on the Shonen Jump app, and you won't regret it. There are times where like you can peter out, and out of nowhere just throw something at you, and you're like, next chapter, please. And so yeah, but like those 2 distinct chapters are the ones that hit me.
All right. Well, this next one I have to pick up the final volume, but it's a short series, but it would be Can't Stop Cursing You. And that first opening, when you realize like this kid who's like Mr. Popular and Mr. Nice and Mr. Sweet, and what he does to like one of his classmates right there in the classroom, I was like, okay, you've got me. I want to know more. I want to know more about why this kid is doing this. Because he's popular, so there shouldn't be a reason for him to want to like lash out at people and curse them. And the more you go on, it's like you just realize like what is happening with these curses, and then you meet the guy who's disguised as a science teacher who's actually there to do like break the curses, and the dude is just like he's got swag. He just like walks in with like the lab coat and the old school like cigar or whatever, like the over there.
The long john.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just walks in right there in a school doing it, and he's kind of like Sherlock Holmes, bending down, looking at the body, trying to see what's going on.
Other way, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it interests me. It's only 4 volumes. I have to pick up the
That's
last
good.
one. I was waiting for it to be available because at the time when I was trying to get it, wasn't. But that's my third one. So Laura, what's your fourth one?
I'm gonna do a Reincarnated Witch Spells Doom. This is an isekai. This wasn't on my radar, and somebody influenced me to pick it up. And what I found most interesting is how this saying that words have power is conveyed in this first volume, because she was a shut-in. One day she finally decides to go to school. She is hit by a truck, reincarnated into this other world where she is a supposed witch because of her powers that she has and her dark hair. But the thing is she only has 2 spells that she can use, and that is perish and explode. And those were the 2 words that she used all the time when she was back in Japan. And so it's sort of like a warning, so to speak, from the main girl, like, be careful what you say, because you never know how that can affect your next life or affect things in your life in general. So I really was intrigued by that she was always like, I wish my school would just explode, or I wish this day would perish. That now those are the only magical abilities she has in this new world, making her deemed sort of as a witch because she doesn't have something that's dealing with more of like water, like the elements, so to speak, that's more popular. So that hooked me, and then I just kept reading. But the ending, like, if I would say, if anybody's like, this is sort of slow going, I didn't find it boring, but like, it is a little bit more on the slower side where the leads are getting to know each other. The ending though, like 360, I have no idea where this series is going to go at this point, because I'm like, that was so unexpected, and I'm just like, what just happened? So that was definitely a game changer for that and hooking me on that, because I'm like, hope everybody's okay in volume 2.
All right, Bo, what's your next one?
All right, you guys might already be familiar with it. I read this and was immediately intrigued. Sweat and Soap.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, there you go.
I need those box sets.
Yeah, I should have.
Yeah, I ended
Really
up
caught me
doing
off
the 50
guard
volumes.
because you automatically think of this and like Sweat and Soap. Okay, no, thank you. But everybody raved about it, and finally, Rob from Dad Needs to Talk. I think me and him were talking. I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and do it. And some of these things here, again, it gets pretty spicy, and these people do exactly what you think they do, and it's sweet, and there's actually some good character, well written characters in here, and it's a really interesting idea, and it's a workplace romance. So like, yes, I need more of these. Uh, Again, overall, I mean, I just enjoyed it. If you really want a sweet story with a little bit of romance and some actual, we'll say action. Yeah, here you go. Check out Sweat and Soap.
All right. All right, Ishmael, what's your next one?
Well, on the topic of romance, I am always a sucker. Wait for it, Carrie, because this will be like, huh? I am always a sucker for a good confession. I love it. Doesn't matter what it is. If the confession hits you, I love it. And so this hit me twice in both the anime, and then when I read the manga, the same scene hit me twice. And it
Happy
is
marriage. Oh,
From
yes.
Avengers.
So you're like, what? Romance? What? And so I will show you the panel that hooked me. If you've seen season 1, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have to cover things so I don't spoil stuff. But basically, at the point of the
Can't see it.
first, at the end of the, I'm not going to show it yet. At the first,
Oh.
at the first arc, if you don't know what Tokyo Revengers is, it's a time manga. He wants to save his girl that he's an old ex, blah blah.
yeah.
Basically, he at the end of the first arc, he goes back into the present. The girl is there. he talks with her for the first time in like I think 12 years since they broke up, and so something happens, and then he was like, oh, I like really want to tell her how I feel, and so I just gotta wait. Like, is this a good time? It's not like that. The whole time they're trying to reconnect, it's very hard for him. He's like, this is awkward because I broke up with her. Like he just found like he finds out like, oh, I was the one that broke up with her. It explains later why they broke up. Don't worry about it. But he's like, I'm so confused, but I like her. And then the plot twist happens, and so he confesses at that moment. I
Yeah.
can't show stuff, but he says the stuff that's said before that. Oh, when it hits you, it hits you. I was a
That was a good one.
little backstory. I watched the episode that panel adapts at my job in the back break room, and I almost cried at my job. But the moment it happened,
Look,
my coworker opened the door and like I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine. I almost cried right in front of him because the voice crack the Japanese actor does when he confesses, it's like it's a genuine voice crack, and it's like, oh, I hate you so much. No. And so yeah, it gripped me. We won't talk about the ending because the ending is but Tokyo Revengers does have some good romance in it when they want to focus on romance, which they do from time to time, and that is like it hooked me on when I watched the anime. I was like, this is good. I enjoy it. It's whatever. And the plot twist at the end of the arc, it's like, oh, and then it's like, I've always loved you. I was like, oh, you crybaby, you got me real hard. And so yeah, the other chapter that got me was it's adapted in season 2, but the big fight at the church. There's a whole big fight because he's trying to save a friend who's like very near and dear to him that he's reconnected with. That's a part of the gang. Like it's like, oh, like I'm part of this gang, but you're awesome now. It's weird. And so like he's getting his ass kicked, and he's like, why would like the guy goes, why are you getting your ass kicked for me? Like this makes no sense. Like I don't want to join you anymore. Like I'm doing it so like for the betterment of you. He's like, I see that you're crying on the inside, and the worst thing that you can be is lonely. And it's just his face all bruised up, and he's like, you're lonely, and his face is cluttered, and it's like, I hate you. And so yeah, you will hate.
That was great.
You will hate Takamichi at the beginning, but man, when he comes up, I watched this with my girlfriend, and I think by like episode 10, she was like, he cries in every episode. I don't like him. And I was like, I just noticed he cried in every episode. I get it. And then I was like, just wait for it. And then she cried at that scene that I showed in this. I was like, yeah, we watched it in English and she cried, and I was like, now I gotta show you the Japanese version. And she cried because I'm like, listen to the voice crack. She's like, oh. Yeah. But yeah, Tokyo Revengers has some good chapters in it. Like, even though it falls really, really hard, it does have good times. The beginning of it, really good. So I recommend. And then these editions are very beautiful. At least these first two are, because they have nicer paper. I don't think they've redone the paper for other volumes after that because I haven't seen any. But yeah, find this if you can, and just read it. Time travel, if you like time travel, and like Erased. And then the one thing that we saw earlier, that it reminded me of Tokyo Revengers, Soulmate.
Oh yeah,
that reminds me. That instantly I was like, oh, that's literally.
Yeah.
That's
Now
literally
that
what I
you
just talked
mention
about.
it.
I was like, that's literally what I just talked about with this panel. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, so yeah, like if you're a sucker for those, Tokyo Revengers, really good. Just if you see if you read into it, when you see the happy ending that you're supposed to see, you can kind of stop at that point because that's when it starts getting bad. There's a clear, obvious time where like, okay, he wanted to end it here because like everything's all grand and it's like nice, but I'm pretty sure the anime probably stopped airing at that moment, and then the people at the publisher were like, no, keep going, we're milking this. And he's like, oh, great. And then that's why at the end it goes back to that moment. But yeah, there's a moment where you're like, you can stop, but
yeah, that's true.
The highs of Tokyo Revengers are really high.
Okay.
Even though there are very bad lows, they're very big highs for that series.
All right. This one, what is great about this series is there's not a lot of dialogue. It's the visuals that draw you in. And looking through this first chapter, you have a sense of, okay, it seems normal, but I can't help but think there's something else going on here that might be a little more sinister, and that is definitely Blood on the
Oh,
Tracks. Like the whole first opening when they're just talking about the dead cat when he was a little kid, and you're just thinking, okay, they just came across a dead cat. But through the first chapter, when he's getting ready to go to school, there's moments when he's flashing back to that. And there's even like weird moments like when he's laying in bed, his mom reaches to touch him and he kind of like jumps up and you're like, okay, something's not right
Mhm.
here. And when you get to the very end of the chapter, you realize what's not right here. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm very intrigued. And you get these suspicion that maybe something sinister even might have happened to the cat. But yeah, Blood on the Tracks. I finished the first what they call the prequel, and now I'm on the newest volume where he's
oh,
an
good.
adult. You can't, once you read it, it's a fast read because there's not a lot of dialogue, but it's just the
Yeah,
visuals and the
it's
way they draw things. Like,
Yeah.
it pulls you
literally you
in.
can get
Like,
through a volume in 10 minutes.
yeah,
That's
but
Yeah.
it's
initially
intriguing.
that's why I sold my set because I was like, these are just 10-minute long, and uh, I think the current story is where Oshimi currently is at. Like, it's not that far between volumes from what the Japanese have and we have, and so I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm kind of done at this point. That's why I sold it, but I did enjoy it. I will say, if you get into the series, watch out for volume 2 because yikes, that it put me
Yeah,
off.
it gets a little.
It puts you it the if you want to talk
It's
Oedipus,
meant to make you feel
it
uncomfortable.
it puts you off,
Yeah.
and so it had to rebuild me back up to a point where like I think like I hit like volume like 7 and 8. I was like, all right, I'm back into this. And like, all right, cool. Like it's a plot point, which is like gross, but yeah. And then the cat means something because the cat is the cat is there for a reason. And when you find out what the cat actually is, it's like you suck. You very much suck. A lot of the tracks will make you go, you suck to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like you will read
Oh,
it, you will read it, you'll just look at stuff, and you immediately go, you suck. Like I don't like you. And you can pretty much say that
yeah.
about any character in the series. Like even the
Yeah.
main character. There are moments where it's like, dude, it's
Oh yeah,
freaking
like
obvious.
snapped out of it.
Fucking look at what's going on. And so
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't read the main story yet, but I'll probably make time for it. I don't know if I'll find it or I'll buy it, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's very tricky because it's the main story and it 12 for a prequel. It's like,
I
eh.
know.
And
That's
then
what
they're
I
all
found out. It was like a
it's
prequel, and you're
very
like,
short
what?
read. Yeah, because the
Yeah.
at the end of volume 12, they have like the previews for the next volume. It's like, oh, he's in this situation. What do you think will happen? Volume 12 is this is the end of the prequel. Now the main story starts, and it's like I bought 12 volumes of this, and and I'm caught up to you. What? And so like
Yeah.
that's the only reason why I sold my set. But if I
Okay.
found a deal for it, I would buy the original set again and just pick up the volumes again. That's how good the series is. I hated it. It was volume 2 was by far like top 3 worst volumes I've ever read of a manga, but it got back to me and it takes time, but that's the way Oshimi works. It's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
like I will credit Oshimi and Oku, the guy who does Gantz. He can make you really hate somebody
Oh
with
yeah.
a snap of a finger,
Oh
and
yeah.
it can put you off. But with time, his storytelling is still good enough where like you're interested and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
and like eventually like people will get built up again, and you're like, okay, like we went through this cycle. I get it, but yeah, Blunt Tracks, my favorite Oshimi work. Now that I think about it, because
Yeah.
I think everything else I read of him, I've genuinely hated. I
Yeah.
think
I hear
that's
a
the
lot of
only
people
thing.
say.
I think
I have never read Flowers of Evil. I know that's the one everyone's like, read that one. I'm like, I know,
I
but
didn't like it.
everything else, I've read
Yeah.
the 2 flimsy one shots. I got those for prom. Read them before I gave it to him. I was like, these are horrible, but you love him, so here you go. I read that.
Yeah.
I've read. Oh wait, no. Shino can't say her name. The one shot he did like a while back. I actually like that. I think that might actually be my favorite one
I think
because it's the one.
his
Okay.
works are really well written. I like the way it's done. Characters really well done as well, and I genuinely got creeped out by the mother. and the vibe between the mother and son, I was like, I am not comfortable where this feels like it's going, and I think you confirmed it for me. So I was like, so
Yeah.
I
And when
noped
you get
out
to
after
12, you
volume
just
one.
realize, like,
I was like, nah, man, I'm not in a hurry for something like that. No, thank you.
Also, another series you should not read in the dark.
yeah, no.
Because Laura, some panels will come out of nowhere and you'll be like, oh my god. Like some of the
Yeah.
he does close-ups really well
Mhm.
where you
There's a lot of
feel
suspense and
uncomfortable
buildup,
turning
and
the
then it's
page.
like, boom.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like oh, like everything's fine. Like I'm just doing my thing. Out of nowhere, you just see eyes in front of you, and it's like, oh, back away.
Oh
Ugh.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
So yeah,
That was one I never planned to pick up because I've just heard so many things. I was like, I'm not getting deceived by that very nice looking cover. You know, the mom looks really innocent, just holding her baby.
Mhm.
I was like, no. I was like,
the covers actually have a meaning to them too.
Yes.
You don't realize it until the format of the covers change because
that's
that's
what
when
I heard.
yes, because the first I think it's like the first 7 are like baby pictures because you got like it's like flashbacks to his like the past.
Okay.
So if you look at them, it's like oh, it's like a photo album because you get photo album pictures
Yeah.
throughout like the endings.
Oh, okay.
And then the plot twist hits where he realizes something, and that's why everything else is in red. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, like I was interested. I was like, why is everything in red? And so when you get to the plot twist, it's like, oh, and then you get to the next volume, it's like, it makes sense why this is red now. It makes sense why
And
nothing
now
is.
the new one is blue because that's when I realized that it was like, because I think I asked Marg, I was like, why is it blue? It's been red all this time.
Yeah.
I was
It's
like,
setting the mood for what he's going through
Mhm.
at that point.
yeah, I think that's what she said. It's a new arc or a new tone shift in the
Mhm.
series, but she's like, it makes sense for the volume. But no, I'm good. I'm good.
So Laura,
All right, Laura, what's your last one?
I went with it's another. I don't know why. I feel like there's so many isekai, like fantasy isekai, that when I see fantasy, I just assume isekai. But this is just fantasy. I don't know if everybody else has that problem, but I did The Fiance Chosen by the Ring. This has such an outlandish beginning where literally the ring chooses our main girl. She's like a seamstress, but she loves embroidery, and so she goes to this ball-like sort of thing. She's just like, I'm here to appreciate all of the embroidery, the dresses. Suddenly she's drinking from her wine glass. This ring hits her in the forehead, and this man comes up and he's like, the ring has chosen my future bride. And that is how it opens, of her being chosen and becoming the fiance of this man. She does decide to go with it for certain reasons, and it's a very sweet and wholesome romance. But that beginning is just something else, where it's like you literally just tossed your ring, and like, I mean, and it was like a hard hit too. Like it wasn't like a
Oh.
nice, easy, soft going one. But I don't know. I was hooked. I was hooked, and I have the rest of the series and binge read it after this. So
Okay.
I was like, that was a very memorable beginning.
How long is it?
Do what?
How long is it?
How long?
Let's see. I think it's currently 4 volumes.
Okay.
I don't know if volume 5 just came out or volume 4 just came out. I should look.
Mm.
But it's really slow. It's a slow
Mhm.
release. I don't know how far it is in Japan, but I feel like we're just moving really like a snail right about now, to be honest. Let me go see.
All right. Bo, which one do you have up next?
I got Gantz. That is my 5th one. Absolutely loved it. Art is fantastic, as you can plainly. I got to make sure to choose the right page because there are some things that I cannot
Yep.
show on here. This thing gets ultra violent, and it also shows full frontal, and also does. There's some people that get intimate in this, but basically, you have 2 people that go to save somebody and that's stuck on a track. For a train track, and all of a sudden, I think they're able to save the person. I can't really remember too much about the
They do.
beginning, but the train ends up hitting the 2 guys that try to save the person that's on the tracks, and instantly they go from being like you see their body parts just flying everywhere, and their consciousness fades and then comes right back, and they find themselves in a room with other people in a giant orb. This orb is basically telling these people to hunt down people that are a little weird. They're a little off, and you'll find out that when you read the story. But definitely one of my favorite reads. Very quick. As thick as this thing is, I read this thing in an hour. That's how many words are in here.
Yeah,
Oh goodness.
they're very.
Wow.
It's very chunky, but it literally takes you an hour to read them. It's balls to the wall, just flipping
Yes.
everything, and then
Okay.
There were times
Yeah,
where
pick
I
them
was
up.
like, wow.
Nice.
Anthony, I'm done.
All right, Asian world.
It has currently 4 volumes with 5 volumes or volume 5 coming out in December.
Nice.
Okay.
I believe this current volume, or I know for sure this series is behind Carrie, and I'm telling her hurry up and read it. I don't know if it's a specific volume, but it's Alice in
Yeah, that's the
Borderland.
volume.
It is this volume. Yes, it is. The chapter that gripped me, the ending to the game of tag. If you've read this, you know what it is, and when that game concludes of tag, you are heartbroken and you want to keep going.
Yes.
You are heartbroken and you were like, how does same thing with Gantz? There's something that happens where it's like it's heartbreaking, but you're like, I want to keep going. What happens after? This is the same thing. There's a game of tag. I won't go into details, but there's a game of tag that happens between people. And once you reach the end and realize how the game concludes, it is one of the saddest things ever, because you see the psyche of a man get broken down as he notices what's going on, and it hits you. It's the one series where it gripped me so hard. I ordered 3 and 4 from a website because I was like, oh, it's a good price. As soon as I finished this, I was like, all right, hurry up and bring me these volumes. And I think I got those volumes like 3 months later, and I was like, I hate that I got these so late, but I immediately read them because that's how good this is.
Okay.
Yeah, Carrie, read this. It's like
I will let you know. I will read it tomorrow.
Because the first volume I was like, oh, I get it. Like, this is like, it's cool, death game, blah blah blah. I was like, it'd probably be like, all right, turn your brain off, cool, whatever. Once you get to the game of tag, you realize, and you're like, I'm like, oh, okay, wow, oh, that's interesting. Oh, people don't like each other. Oh, they're turning their backs on each other. That kind of sucks. Oh, they can't get along at all. Oh, they're getting along. Why are they getting along? Oh my god, they got along. Oh my god, no, don't get along, no. And then the game ends, and you're like, I'm heartbroken. And this one dude is like, I can't keep going on. And then it makes you want to read the rest. It does. First volume, I was like, it's okay. That's the first volume of this omnibus. Oof. I told myself, I was like, I am reading this because like it's this and it's Zom that this dude is currently out with. And Zom is completely the opposite. So when I read this, I was like, oh, this is like 100 times better. Yeah, I love Zom. I enjoy Zom for what it is, but this is like, oh my goodness, like okay. And then things happen later on, but like this is like, if you're interested in this series, get the first 2 volumes. Once you're in the middle of this, you can determine if you want to keep going or not, because that's how strong that game of tag is. So that's all I have to say. Read it, Carrie. Read it.
I will read it tomorrow, and I will let you know my thoughts.
Yes. Yes.
All right. This one's a newer volume. It's a newer series. They just dropped volume 1. I got it in the mail, and I read it right away. And we lost Laura now.
She said she was leaving. She had something come up.
Okay, no problem. Bye, Laura. And I said online, if you saw my tweet, I said, if you like summertime rendering, you're going to like this. And it is, it is the summer, Hikaru died, and it focuses on 2 best friends, who is Yoshiki and Hikaru. And the first chapter just starts off like, feels like just like a normal day with these 2 kids, after school, going off to like just pick up some ice cream and talk and mess with each other. And you're thinking, okay, so they're setting up the relationship so for whatever happens later happens, but then like not even like 4 pages in, they drop the bomb right there of what really happens. I don't want to spoil it because it's a new series,
I
but
mean,
you
it's in the
realize,
name, I
oh my God,
guess. I haven't read it yet, but
yeah,
it's the name.
like you realize, okay, the one character's already dead when this scene happens,
Yeah.
and he's already been replaced by something,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's kind of like weird as it goes along because this one guy is just trying to like he lost his friend, but he's got this replacement, so he's going with it because he's not dealing with the grief over losing his friend, and nobody else is aware that the friend is dead because there's the guy walking around school and goes home to his parents. He has all his memories, but he's not exactly human.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to wonder, is he good? Is he bad? Is he evil? Does he really want to live this life? Because that's the impression he gives in the first chapter. And it's just like, okay, I want to see where this goes. I really want to see where this goes because you're kind of like, is this poor kid going to end up getting killed, or is he going to find out, is like maybe this thing does want to be human. I don't know. And how is he going to explain it to everybody else if he does decide he's going to want to reveal it? Like, hey, everybody, guess what? My best friend's dead. He's replaced by a monster. Like, so and it's like you see him conflicted because he's acting like his friend. He has all the memories of his friend, and he's doing all the things they would do normally together, but he
Mm-hmm.
knows there's something wrong because he knows this is not his friend. And it's just like,
Yeah.
kind of like, how do you deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
So I do recommend it. It's really good.
I picked my copy
Uh,
up from Kinokuniya, so I got the art.
Nice.
Looking for it. Yeah, this is
have you
very
read it?
beautiful. I have not read it yet, but now like I knew that I knew the thing that the friend already being dead was a thing. I already knew that was a thing. So now I have more context, so I will probably wind up reading it tomorrow.
Yeah,
I
because I
will
thought it
say
was a flashback, and then I was like,
yeah,
"Ooh, this is not a flashback."
yeah, I know it's like sudden. I know it's like a very sudden thing that like it just hits you. That's all I knew from it. Also, so I don't know how your spine is, but the quality control in those volumes is like very iffy because when I went to the Kinokuniya,
Yes.
a whole stack of them. You look at their spines, 90% of them were chipped. I literally had to look at like which
Whoa.
one is not in bad condition,
Yeah,
and
like
then I was like, all
even
right,
like a little bit. See if we can tell.
yeah,
Even a
it's
little
it's
bit.
one of it's one of those volumes where like if you see that there's a ding on it, you will notice it immediately. Like that's the only
Yeah,
bad
because
thing I
I
had
think
about
it's
it.
the color wraps around, so it's like.
Yeah. So like once
Mm-hmm.
you see that speck away, it sticks to you. But and they're also like
But
small volumes, but I've
Okay.
heard nothing but good things about it. So I have faith that I'll enjoy it and I'll probably wind up picking them up as they come out.
Okay.
well, that
Mhm.
was our top five chapters that hooked us. Does anybody have any plans coming up on their channel? Bo, I know you've been working on videos.
Yes, I'm working on a different type. Everyone kind of nopes out of reviews. They watch them for like a second, but I'm gonna stick to straight recommendation videos. I'm not gonna give away any spoilers. Maybe go over what happens on chapter one, but that's about it. But kind of sell you on why I liked a certain volume and what it involves. There's that, and also I am doing a tier list video. I have, but it's not what you think. I'm actually going to be looking for newer channels and kind of boost them up. It's like, hey, here's what they're doing. The ones that kind of really interest me, and I think that
Mhm.
really deserve more following. So that's the two videos I'm working on next.
Nice. And what about you, Asian Murder? Do you have anything coming up?
I am currently in the process of editing my I guess it'd be July haul. Yeah. I tried making it a goal of mine not to do hauls or shopping videos
Yeah,
until like I
I
felt the need I wanted to.
mm,
I I vacationed in Texas at the beginning of the month, and I met my wife and me. I met like all that group and contingent. So like we hung out, we went manga shopping. So that's why I'm showcasing that off and doing a haul for that. Another haul when all the birthday stuff comes through because I bought way too many things for that. And
yeah,
then
I get you.
I usually like doing a special video for my birthday. I did like the recommendation from every manga tuber last year.
Yeah.
I asked on Twitter for a reason to name live actions because I was thinking the One Piece stuff was happening as well. So I will be making it a goal to do a series where I watch every live action that's available legally in the US and reviewing them and seeing like what are the good things, if anything. Death Note will be the first one because I've already seen it. I'll just rewatch it, and because like I remember
And the
some.
Rurouni Kenshins.
Yeah, I know the Kenshin ones are like decent for what they are, but like I was like I need one that sticks out real bad, and I don't think Dragon Ball Evolution is available anywhere to stream legally, from what I've heard. But Death Note's right there. I
Everybody
can just
wants to
rewatch it.
remember that happened.
Yeah, Death Note I can rewatch it right there, and then obviously with One Piece I'll get to that eventually. That'll probably be like
You also got Speed Racer, but I like
yeah.
Speed Racer.
I've heard because Jerry was like Death Note, Speed Racer, and I think something else. But like I'm trying to hunt down all of them. I have the Gintama one on Blu-ray, so that's I know that's like regarded as like
I
like
think
top
there's 2
3
movies.
Yeah, there's 2 movies. Only the first one was like a Blu-ray thing. They never brought the second one over because I think sales did poorly. But like if you like Gintama, the live action is actually really good from what I've heard, and it pokes fun that it's a live action. Like
Yeah,
it knows it's a live action because like Gintama, like no matter what medium it is, it'll
like,
acknowledge it's
fourth
that.
wall breaking.
Yeah, because like the first like 2 minutes of the anime is like, oh, we're an anime. We finally got an anime. Oh my god. And that's what the first episode is. The manga is like, oh, we're a manga. And so like I get it. And so I've seen clips of the live action, but like I want to say that for later. So yeah, gonna start with a shitter in Death Note, but eventually like get to like the ones that people think are actually okay. So yeah, because I know people like Speed Racer. I know people like Ghost in the Shell, even though it's like flip flopped. I know the world building. The world looks good in that, from what I've heard. It's like that, and then like the Erased live action.
A Lupin live action series.
There's a Lupin live action series, but I think it's like multiple seasons where it's like that's gonna take a while.
Full Metal.
Yeah, but there's also a movie from Japan too.
Ah, okay. And then yeah, the Full Metal ones and the Bleach one, which I think I'm gonna wait until I catch up to where the Bleach one ends, because I think it ends at the end of like the first serious like big arc. And so I think I'm like a couple episodes towards the end of that. I like got to Ichigo versus Kenpachi. So I'll watch the anime stuff and then I'll probably watch the live action immediately after that, so I can make that its own thing. But yeah, I'm gonna try to make that. I probably will hate myself for doing it as I watch these, and I'm like, these are all horrible. But like, I'm like, it's something fun that I can just do, and like, it gives me a purpose to watch things.
Nice. Well, I'm hoping I'm going to be launching like a Manga 101 video series, and people voted. So the first one's going to be, what's manga and what's the difference between manga and manhwa? So we're going to do that. Hopefully next Monday I will get my Manga Monday video. I wasn't able to do it this week due to some family issues, but hopefully we'll be back next week. In the meantime, guys, thank you for being on. Laura, thank you too. I know you had to leave. Marg, I hope everything's okay. I don't know where you're at.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a power outage. I don't know. I hope everything's all right. But we will be back again next week. And we hope to see you all then soon. Bye.
Later.
Yeah.